It's the Orioles on Masson on a warm and humid Thursday night in downtown Baltimore. It's the Orioles and the Cleveland Indians tonight. It's the finale of this four-game series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. Welcome to Camden Yards. Of course, in baseball, every player strives to be consistent, and that is harder to do than it might seem. You see, in this game, there are ups and downs, streaks and slumps, and the players try to maximize those consistent periods when they're feeling good. And this month, in the month of June, the Orioles have two hitters that have been consistent since the calendar turned the page. Trey Mancini's batted .357 in the month, 5 home runs, 14 RBIs. He has 11 extra base hits. And Jonathan Schoop, .338 with 7 home runs. How about 19 RBIs this month and 13 extra base hits? And Jim Palmer, when you have a couple of hitters, they usually bat back-to-back in the lineup as consistent as they are. Mancini, we know, he's a foul line hitter, gives himself a chance to succeed. And Jonathan is doing that more this year than he has in the past.
Well, we always used to talk. I mean, one of my dear friends that I came up, ran him to death when I had the bad arm, one of the great pinch hitters, Terry Crowley, was also a great hitting instructor. He says, well, when you get a guy like Jonathan Schoop, when you get to maybe 1,200 to 1,500 at bats, you kind of find out. They mature not only physically, emotionally, maybe mentally, and that's where he is now. So, he's become a good breaking ball hitter. We've seen him use the whole field. But I think the amazing thing when we talk about Trey Mancini, so he doesn't have 1,000 at bats.
Right.
He's got, about 250? He's hitting fifth. Scope's hitting third because Adam Jones gets the day off. But foul line to foul line last night. It's funny if you don't really go back and check. You go, did he really get 3 hits? But he did get 3 hits. And he can hit for power. He can hit the ball to the opposite field for power. So, and again, he's been a very good defender at first base with Chris Davis on the save list. So he has been a very pleasant surprise, and you can plug him in the outfield, and he does a good job there.
And in this series, we have seen sort of a contrast in styles between the Indians' approach and the Orioles' play for the big inning approach.
Well, the Orioles, we always know, we talk about home runs. They do it about as well as almost 50% of their runs come on home run. We saw the game they won on Tuesday. Manny hit a 3-run home run. The on-base percentage, the Orioles always talk about it. Never quite pull it off. They don't walk. Batting average is about the same. Runs different because of the fact that you don't steal bases. And the other thing is, the Orioles are hitting at .304 with runners in scoring position, but they're almost 100 less opportunities than the Cleveland Indians, who are 7th in the run. The Orioles are 12th. And Cleveland's only hitting .240. So why does that happen? They get on base. And again, I think also with their speed, they maybe go from home to second a little bit quick. They get the most doubles. They have the most triples in the American League. So again, and we saw it in this series, Jim. Last night they got 5 singles in the 9th. In game 1, Dylan Bundy cruised into the 4th inning, 4 doubles. Last night, single, double, home run, single to light up Gosman a little bit. Otherwise, he pitched a pretty good game. So they have sustained offense. Orioles would like to see a little bit more of that.
And for Wade Miley tonight, it really is a difficult challenge because as we've seen in the first 3 games in this series, the Indians, they'll hit it where it's pitched. Opposite field, no problem. They'll go that way.
Well, I don't really think it's as much, for Wade, the stuff or the inability to keep guys from hitting the ball. It's can he throw the ball over enough? And, we saw a little bit in the Cardinal game. The ball was flying. It was a tough strike. He pitched real early. He pitched well. He didn't win. This month they've been scoring more runs. So, again, he's a very tough lefty. You can't run on him. I mean, he controls their running game. Some of their best hitters won't be playing tonight because he's left-handed. They'll be out of the lineup. So, again, and then Clevenger, he's not Kluber and he's not Carrasco. So I'd take my chances. And, hopefully Miley will out, who's a veteran, will outpitch a guy really in his first full year as a starter. It's Mike Clevenger, and if you win tonight, they will have won 4 out of the 7 games, and nice to do that and then get on the road.
Yeah, and that's why this becomes a big game for the Orioles. You want to split against the defending American League champions as you head out for a 6-game road trip. We are set for baseball. Lineups at first pitch are next. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Southwest. Guest to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. It was a lovely day downtown. Warm. It is muggy. Our BGE Home game time temperature. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? 87 degrees. The humidity of 57%. And under mostly cloudy skies, a slight breeze out of the southwest. So a big game for the O's, big game for the Indians. Tribe trying to get 3 out of 4. Orioles trying to split. Lindor, Kipnis, and Jose Ramirez, not only a 9-game hitting streak, 9 consecutive multi-hit games. Encarnacion and Santana with Jackson in center field tonight. Then Gomes, Gonzalez, and Robertson.
So Wade Miley, he'll try to win his 2nd in a row. Why not? He'll get him back to 500. How do you do that? You command the strike zone. Again, it's not about stuff. He is 2nd to Verlander in the American League with 40 walks. Will hang around the deeper you go, and he did that a little bit on Sunday. They got him 15 runs. He didn't like the strike zone. The ball was flying. There were 22 home runs in the Cardinals series, so he won that Sunday game. You can see he dominates lefties. You don't run on him. Home runs, well, it is the year of the home run, so 10 is not that bad. He did throw 2 against the Cardinals. And that's the 2nd time he did that, also in Detroit. So if he throws strikes, he controls the running game, and that will give the Orioles a chance to win tonight.
And John Russell is managing tonight. Buck and his wife Angela went home to Texas. His daughter Allie had their first grandson tonight, so congratulations to Buck and Angela and Allie and the Showalter family. And there's Brian Graham, who is running the minor league operation, but tonight he is the bench coach for John Russell. And there's a bouncer foul off the bat of Lindor, so Miley gets ahead 0-2.
Well, he's got a pretty good breaking ball, and he's got a nice change up. He can change speeds with his fastball, 91, occasionally get to 94. But how do you get to the pitch count where you don't want it? You get into these counts, and right there, I mean, that was a pretty good pitch. You try to, it's all right to pitch in. He's usually more comfortable into righties than away. But a lot of times, and he's got more 3-2 counts than anybody in the American League.
Hard hit ball into left field. There's a base hit. And Lindor reaches, leading off the game.
Well, you're seeing, a guy that was kind of 12 for 69, and all of a sudden, as you look at the defense, Kim, Gentry, Smith. That's the outfield. Machado, Tejada, Hardy with the broken right hand wrist. He's on the disabled list. Scope Mancini with Chris Davis on the oblique problem, and then Wellington Castillo back behind home plate.
Here's Jason Kipnis, who is the only left-handed batter in the lineup tonight. Chisenhall and Zimmer given the night off against Miley, who has handled left-handed batters pretty well this year. Kipnis is 8 for 25 on the Cleveland road trip, which ends tonight. They are 6-1 through the first 7 games of this 8-game trip. And a call in the corner, 1-1.
Yeah, he'll look for a ball if he can, and try to hit it into right field. And 213 against lefties with 3 of the 8 home runs that he's hit. And Lindor, he's just trying not to get picked off. That's the kind of move that Wiley has. Wiley, if he gets too big a lead, don't think he's not throwing over there.
26 pickoffs in his career. Outstanding move. Cleveland will run a little bit. They have 34 steals as a team. Double play ball. Scope bobbles it, but does get the out at second base. Nice recovery there by Jonathan. That ball was hit hard, and it looked like it jumped up on the heel of his glove.
Yeah, take a look, and again, it does have that second bounce pretty hard. You do get the lead runner, but it certainly negates any chance he catches it. I don't know if there's going to be a double play anyway, because Kipnis runs fairly well. He's not a ball. He's coming out of the box being left-handed, but you'll never know unless you catch it. They do get the lead runner.
And it's taken outside Jose Ramirez. The Indians have 3 switch hitters in the lineup, including Ramirez. Lindor, who led off, and Carlos Santana, who's batting 5th tonight, are also switch hitters. And throw to first, and Kipnis gets back.
Well, Jose Ramirez the more you see him, you realize that maybe that 312 he hit last year wasn't a fluke. He's a little over 300 against righties. He's 333 against lefties. Excuse me. He's got 8 home runs, and he's 1 out of 3. There's a nice little two-seam fastball against the right-handed pitchers. So power from both sides, high average from both sides, and he looks like a pretty good defensive third baseman.
5th season when he first came up, he played shortstop, and then of course Lindor arrived. We saw him in left field as well.
Well, he's a utility guy, and he could play everywhere, and he was a switch hitter, and you're going, okay, dime a dozen. Signed for $50,000 out of the Dominican. Just signed like a $26 million 5-year deal with a couple of options that could get the contract into the $50 million range. So they believe in him.
Skied the right for Seth Smith, and he puts it away. 2 men down. Kipnis back to first.
Now take a look at Wade Miley. So early on, he's throwing strikes. He's pitching well. They're not scoring a lot of runs for him. Look at the low average, and then, May, June a little bit different, but he's actually, because the run support is very good, he's winning more games. And again, this is the largest increase in the AL as far as ERA. But maybe 232 is a little bit unrealistic. So more, if you pitch like he did the other day, he pitched better than the guy that he started. If he can get into the 6th or 7th inning, that John Russell subbing for Buck Showalter will be thrilled and use the back end of the bullpen.
Encarnacion DHing. He is finding his stroke this month, no doubt about that. Took him a while to get going, his first year with the Indians. Signed a big deal, and you change teams, you want to show right away the contract they gave you is justified. But this guy, 7 home runs now, 17 RBIs in June. And he pops it up. Gentry was deep, a long run in, but he can cover ground. And he's got it. Good start for Wade Miley. Leadoff single, 1 left. We'll head to the bottom of the first. Cleveland nothing, and here come the Birds. Fans on hand, checking in at home. Hey, it's the first inning, no score. Here's the Orioles lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Smith, Machado, and Scope batting third tonight for the first time this year. Trumbo DHs. Trey Mancini in the number 5 spot. Last 10 games, a .436 clip, 17 for 39. Castillo will catch, then Kim Tejada, and Gentry gives Adam Jones a night off.
And Mike Clevenger, out of Jacksonville, Florida. Well, road warrior, as most of these guys. The Indians play very well. They pitch well, so he's 2-1 with a low ERA, 2.61 on the road. Acquired taste. He was traded for Vinny Pestano back on the 20th in 2015 of November from the Angels, but they don't score a lot of runs for him. Only a little bit over 3 runs a game. So again, good arm, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup pitcher, and Would you say that maybe he figured it out at Columbus, where he went 11-1 last year? So up and down this year, but he's actually pitched pretty well for him.
And he'll face Seth Smith leading off in the first, and he gets ahead 0-1.
You know, not overpowering, but you know, average fastballs kind of right there, 92.5 to 93, but he's got 3 other pitches to go with it.
Seth has a 4-game hitting streak working. And the count evens 1-1. Our StatCast is powered by AWS, and you see the shift. Ramirez, the lone infielder on the left side. Lindor, Kipnis, and Santana, with Kipnis out there in shallow right field. A lot of room in the right center gap for Smith.
Yeah, they play him a couple of steps to hit the ball in the air to the other way, and then.
And he hits it the other way, and he gets into it. Back it goes towards the bullpen, and that ball is gone into the Indians bullpen. There's a leadoff home run for Smith, and the Birds break on top.
Well, that ball was absolutely crushed. You know, the one thing when I first saw Seth Smith, you know, you check out his numbers, hit a lot of home runs playing with Oakland, but he came up with Colorado, and boy, he would drive balls to left center, and that's a great way to hit. Of course, that ball go out anywhere, but in this ballpark, very short porch in left center field, 364. One of the shortest power alleys in baseball. Maybe Philadelphia a little bit closer, but that didn't matter. That ball probably went about 420 feet. So get the ball in the air. It's a warm night, as you said, a humid, a muggy night. Ball will fly.
And that one went into the Cleveland bullpen.
Yeah, oh no, this ball is nailed. And he backspins it too. When you get down on it, you get put backspin, and it's just going to go 426 feet. You can see the line drives about 15 degrees. That was 25, and then what, 108 miles per hour.
That is Seth Smith's 4th leadoff home run of the year. And it's the Orioles' 5th. Joey Rickard also has one. Joey, May 8th against the Nationals.
Well, when you start a game, you do have to find you know, what the strike zone is, what's working and all that, and to have a home run hitter that's also high on base percentage type of guy like Seth Smith makes it difficult. You know, if you have a guy that's going to hit a single and he hits that a soft single to center, you go, okay, now I get a couple of pitches, but you're down. You pitch to one batter, you're down 1-0.
And he thought he had a walk.
Again, you know, you never know in the first inning Adam Amari's strike zone is. Obviously, he thinks this ball is low, and it probably is. Watch Yan Gomes bring it up a little bit. So there's low, and then watch this. Except the umpire can't see because he's so far behind him. He can't see over his head.
Manny protecting just in case.
Stay alive swing.
Clevenger's out of Jacksonville, Florida. It's his 2nd season with the Indians, in that trade Jim talked about. He was drafted by the Angels in 2011, and the Indians got him even up for Vinny Pastano, a reliever at the time, and there's a walk. And Vinny Pastano's no longer in baseball, so that's a good trade for the Indians.
Well, take a look at their defense, and Gonzalez, Jackson, and Robertson. So a little different look with the left-hander Miley pitching for the Orioles. Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, Santana, and Gomes. That was the lineup the first 2 games here. Yan Gomes getting last night off. Roberto Perez having a nice offensive night, doing a terrific job behind the plate for Carlos Carrasco.
Here's Jonathan Scope, who's batting 3rd for the first time this year. And the fastball inside. Here's the RBI last night, and what an at-bat. Look how inside out of that one.
Yeah, a little slider that he just takes the other way. And once he gets by the right fielder and the center fielder, the Orioles get on the board.
Jonathan now 4th in the league in doubles. And he gets ahead 2-0.
Yeah, when you have a kind, he has a very unusual windup, but because of the fact he just walked him, but he's really open. In other words, that left foot will be not in line with the plate. So he's kind of an open stance. And then the big question is, you know, a lot of guys have open stance. But look at how far left the shoulder is. Will it get back square with the plate? And the answer, as he throws over, we won't know. But it looked like the first time. So look at Marco Estrada. He starts with an open stance, but his shoulders are closed. So he just kind of closes the left leg, and then his lines are pretty good. There's his pitching coach, Mickey Callaway. He seems to get the most out of his pitching staff. They have some terrific arms on this staff.
Jonathan pops it up over a Santana. He may run out of room, and he will. Right on top of the Orioles dugout.
Yeah, the other thing about this ballpark, we always talk about the dimensions. 364 to left center, 373 with a very, this wall certainly comes into play all the time. And we've seen balls hit over it, but there's not a lot of foul territory. And so you could talk about, the ball's juiced. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if anybody would disagree with that. Small foul territory, ball flying, short dimensions. Yet the Orioles have an ERA of a little over 4 runs a game at home. And somehow it's over 6 on the road.
A 2-1 on Scope. Manny at first, nobody down. And he just got back. That's a pretty good move for a right-hander.
Well, Manny doesn't run a lot, but a lot more this year than last year when he did not steal a base. 3 years ago, stole 20. Wow.
That was close.
Well, it wasn't exactly very nimble getting back. It was kind of like a lean to his left. Yeah, see?
Terry Francona watched them the review.
Yeah. There was no urgency getting back because I don't think he thought that it was going to be close.
Santana saying, I got you here.
Well, they must think that they got him on the shoulder coming back. And again, it was just kind of like he gradually toppled to his left to get back to the bag. And, normally you'll kind of use your legs, get a little lower and try to get to the outside of the bag. And see, that right there, it's almost like his foot gets in front of him. So.
Well, that looked like the hand and the tag got there at the same time.
So they won't change. If you don't see a discernible difference to turn the play, Bill Miller's sitting right there, and of course the camera gives a little better view.
Bill Miller on the right is the crew chief. They are involved in all of the replay reviews. He happened to be the umpire who made the call, so Kerwin Danley comes in with him. Can't really tell if he was out from that angle. So if there isn't enough evidence to overturn it, the call has to stand.
Well, you got a young pitcher. Have a team that can hit a bunch of home runs. The Orioles, they've already hit one. So why not try to eliminate the runner at first with Scope, who's red hot with 7 home runs in the month of June at the plate.
There we go. And he is safe.
Not enough to overturn it.
So the call stands. No clear or convincing evidence to confirm.
So they lose their challenge. We'll see how that plays out over 9 innings.
So Clevenger back to work after a short delay.
Well, he's got, he's the biggest swing and miss pitches are his slider and his curveball. But if you keep getting behind guys, I don't know if he can pitch like Kluber and Carrasco. Didn't matter what count, they'd throw their breaking balls.
And it's taken for a strike. Let's get a look at our Coons.com leaderboard. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons.
Well, there you go. And this is 2016. Cano. Dozier hit what, 41 home runs last year. Altuve, 200 hits his first 3, or at least the last 3 years. Pretty select group of guys. Yeah, you go back and look at last year. It's a tough group at second base. There were 15 second basemen in Major League Baseball that hit 20 or more home runs.
Yeah, the All-Star voting came up at Buck's pregame press conference the other day and asked about Jonathan. And when you look at all the second basemen in the years they're having, it's going to be tough for Scopey to make it. Good take there, ball 3.
There's the slider. First breaking ball he's thrown.
I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps hitting like he is if Mancini isn't considered, because Mancini can play first base for the American League. He can play left field, and he can pinch hit. Certainly putting up numbers.
Well, if we see Jonathan taking fly balls on this next road trip, we'll know that he wants it because
hey, I'm versatile.
Right, he can do at least 2 of those 3 things.
Manny runs. The 3-2 is hit into left field for a base hit. So the Orioles have first and second and still nobody down.
Well, the Orioles are going to, they're going to be on the road because that might have scorched that ball's hit so hard. I got to imagine this is probably about 104 miles per hour off the bat. Right there, and he hits it so hard you can't even get to third. Man, he's thinking about it.
Well, if you're going to have a good series for scope, you might want to have it here because Terry Francona in the other dugout is the American League manager for the All-Star team. So impress him face to face. And Scope having a good series. He now is hitting 3 in a row and is 9 for his last 23. Here's Trumbo, the cleanup hitter. And a strike.
Yeah, see, when the minute he throws strike one, he's able to use all those other pitches. Now, not that you can't do it, but maybe not feeling comfortable in the first to pitching backwards, getting behind, and then going to the secondary pitches. But he's got good ones.
Good take, 1-1. Now Trumbo on the homestand, 6 for 23 with a couple of home runs. In June, he has 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. He has Manny at second, Jonathan Scope at first, and nobody out. Swings for the breaking ball.
There's the hook. So the slider harder, the curveball I would imagine somewhere about 82. There's your Mercedes pitch cut. Actually it's 76, so it's even slower. And it's a good one. It's not that Mark Trumbo can't hit it. That's, you know, get one off Adam Wainwright.
Now Clevenger gets ahead 1-2. And he got him. Yeah. Came back with the same pitch.
Yeah, I mean, what a difference. You get ahead versus getting behind for a young pitcher. And now he used all his pitches, and then those are quality breaking balls. 3 of them in a row. And he can throw it from strike to ball. He's a big kid at 6'4". And you know, I'm looking at his numbers. So he goes 11-1. Year before he was 9-8. ERAs of either 3 runs or lower. A lot of strikeouts, not a lot of walks. So that was a big pickup for him. That was a slider that kind of like Corey Kluber's. You think it's going to be on the plate, and it just keeps going.
Mancini, the batting average up to .314. He has the best batting average with runners in scoring position in the majors at .436. He has Manny out there at second base with 1 down. Bouncer to first. Santana goes to second and just does get it around the sliding scope.
Yeah, what a risky play. He must have had a good angle because it wasn't hit very hard. So again, by doing this, yeah, there's a risk. So you can see the angle. You can see Lindor probably didn't get a good view of it. Now it's a force play, so he doesn't have to tag it. You get one of the, so he had enough room. It makes a very good throw. Former catcher. And okay, you can have the runner at third. I'll get another lead runner.
And Lindor politely picks up Jonathan's batting glove that popped out of his pocket. So Manny to third, and Mancini now on at first with 2 down. And here's Wellington Castillo, who was given last night off. Took a foul ball off his throwing shoulder a couple of nights ago. Good to see him back in there tonight. Doesn't chase the slider. 1-0. You know, you look at Clevenger, and my first impression is he should be on the Mariners. I was watching the Mariners Tigers game last night when I got home. The Mariners have about 7 guys that have this hairstyle. He'd fit right in.
He can get drafty in Seattle, even though they have the roof. It's open. So, you know, you got to keep your neck.
Or on the Mets.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, DeGrom, Syndergaard.
Well, Syndergaard's hurt.
Well,
I don't know how about his hair. I mean, I don't think his hair is hurt.
Chop to third. That is foul. right over Manny's head.
You certainly.
Manny says, hit it fair.
You always kind of want to send out to a guy like Noah Syndergaard that you hope he gets well because of how dynamic a pitcher he is. But Thor, they call him.
Yep.
Oh, what was the Dark Knight? That was Harvey. You got to have a name if you pitch for the Mets too. And then you got Thor. Of course, he was throwing 98, and then he put on 15 pounds. He wanted to throw harder.
Yeah.
Thor lat. Hopefully, it's healing.
2-1 as the breaking ball sails outside.
Yeah, I'm looking at that 11-1. I'm going, well, you know, why don't the Orioles have that? Well, they did. Mike Wright went 9-1, 2015, 2.22 ERA, much lower than Clevenger's, which was 3 runs a game, and then something happened on the way to the big leagues.
Check swing again. They appeal to first. He did not check. Bill Miller says he went. That's a big swing pitch there.
Well, that's a great slider too. And that's what Bill Miller's looking at, and you can see the bat definitely out in front of home plate. And again, if you'll throw a 2-1 slider, if you're Wellington Castillo, you have no inkling of what's coming here.
Ball 3.
So you know he's got a good arm. I mean, you look at him and coming up through the Yankees really didn't pitch a lot. Yeah, he signed what in 2011, pitched what 4 innings. The next year only 41 innings. The next year must have been hurt 5 innings, and the next thing you know he's playing for the Indians for a reliever.
Mancini runs on 3-2, and it's a called strike 3. Castillo thought he had ball 4. Questions the call, but the inning will end on the strikeout. So Clevenger gets out of it without any further damage, but Seth Smith crushed it to the opposing team bullpen for a leadoff home run. Named Oriole Park, of course, the home of the Birds here, one of the 10 nicest places in America. Not nicest ballparks, nicest places to visit. So the Orioles are in line to go ahead and possibly be voted the nicest place in America, and you can help. You can vote. Go to rd.com, readersdigest.com/nicest, and vote for Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Of course, the ushers here are the best. They each have their own section. They get to know the fans. They take care of them. Beautiful ballpark. The concessions are great. The club level's outstanding. You have Legends Park out there in left center field. Utah Street, you can get to see Boog, who's by Boog's Barbecue, and it is just an outstanding place. So that's pretty cool. rd.com/nicest. Carlos Santana leads off.
The other Carlos Santana.
The other plays a pretty good guitar.
Yes, he does.
And against the shift, there's a base hit.
Wow. Routine ground ball. Oh, nobody's playing there. No wonder he's looking towards the heavens. There you go, head-to-head series. So again, good pitching stops good hitting. The Orioles win 6-5, but they lose 12-0, and then 5-1. So a lot of runners in scoring position. You could see the Indians have. The Orioles have done a nice job, but the Indians 42 opportunities in 3 games. Of course, they came in averaging 8 runs a game. They haven't quite matched that, but close.
There's Austin Jackson, who moves up to number 6 tonight.
And that's one of the reasons. He got a big hit. It was 2-0 on Monday night, and he was 1 for 19, hit a double, scored in a couple of runs down the right field line. One of the 4 doubles they hit off Dylan Bundy in the 4th inning. And you mentioned it last night. They signed him last year with the White Sox, and he can play center field. So you can give your rookie Bradley Zimmer a night off. You know, lefty versus lefty.
That one in there for a strike. But Wade Miley, one of the Orioles starters who has not had first inning problems, and he got through the first inning without a run. His ERA in first innings this year, 2.63. So he has generally been a starter that gets out there and gets off to a good start. Outstanding off-speed pitch.
Yeah, the one to Lindor to start the game was in the middle of the plate. This one was started just off the corner, brought it back. Never really much on the plate. You can see where it landed right there on the outside corner. It's your Mercedes pitch cast.
1-2 on Jackson.
Wow.
Not sure where that missed. It looked like it was right there. 2-2.
Well, again, he's very comfortable pitching in, especially with 2 strikes. You know, the ball to Castillo was just a shade off the corner, so I'm sure he'll be lobbying all night long for maybe the close pitches to be called also for the Orioles.
Setting up out there.
Yeah. Just a little hurry. You get the topple effect where instead of loading, you just fall forward, and it's hard to get the ball anywhere but down.
A 3-2 count.
I wouldn't be surprised if he throws over, even though I can't imagine. Santana has been having those leads where actually they're one-way leads. He gets a lead and then he comes back to first. Doesn't want to get picked off.
Not running. And this one's hit the right center field. Smith on the run. Isn't going to get it. That gets down and gets to the wall. Gentry plays the carom. Santana's being sent. Heading to third is Jackson. And he's going to slide in with a triple. Scoring is Santana to tie the game at 1.
Yeah, the first guy gets a routine base hit. You go 3-2. That can get you in trouble. And Austin Jackson, what a pickup for the Indians. Gets a pitch to hit and drives it up the gap. No chance for Seth Smith to get it. What's a kick away to the left? And that's why it's 3. And of course he can run a little bit. Santana easily in to tie the game. So now you're going to play your infield back. Maybe third base, Manny will play even with the bag. So a great opportunity for Yan Gomes to try to drive in a run.
Line foul, look out. Gomes did not play last night. He's having a tough road trip, 4 for 19. And in his last 17 games, batting just 169. But they love the way he handles the pitching staff, so he gets most of the starts. Now back again, 0-2, right into the camera well.
Well, also the opportunity to come out of the slump. It's not easy to catch, and because of the physical and also the mental. I mean, to call a game and be prepared, and they have a great staff, especially the bullpen, best bullpen in the American League. So you're going to get the play. It's not like you're worried if I don't hit today, I won't be playing tomorrow, because he can help them in other ways. Probably the biggest, or the position where you can be in a slump and still be helping the team win. Normally they'll go to somebody else.
Chop foul, so he fights it off to stay alive.
And they're doing what they usually do. You get ahead, trying to make your pitches, and they foul them off.
Yan Gomes is out of Brazil, born in Brazil, grew up in Miami. And this is trouble. This one's blooped in the right, and Smith's not going to get there. That's in there for a hit. Jackson will easily score from third. It's a 2-1 Cleveland lead. On a bloop RBI hit by Gomes.
Well, it's lucky, and there's a certain, the hit probability we get those numbers probably because it was hit so softly, but he made contact. What did he do the other night off of Castro? He struck out. So Miguel, with the bases loaded, was able to get out of trouble, inducing a ground ball after Gomes struck out. This time he puts it in play and he gets lucky, and they get the lead.
So Jackson drives in the tying run, scores the go-ahead run.
It's kind of what we talked about in the opening. They got 5 singles in the ninth. They got 4 doubles on Monday night in 1 inning.
Eric Gonzalez getting a start in left field tonight. That gets another right-handed bat in there. With the 3 switch hitters, 8 of the 9 batters against Miley tonight bat right-handed. Gonzalez from the Dominican Republic. He's 25 years old. He has been a career Cleveland Indian, signed with them in 2008. Last year got into 21 games. This is his 16th this year.
Well, he's hit everywhere through the minors, at least the last 3 years. And he's hitting right-handers better than lefties this year.
Got a piece of his foot. Count to 1 and 2.
I mean, 231 against lefties and 368 against right-handers. A little breaking ball that's he's going to hit right down off the top of his left foot. It'll slow you down.
Miley facing the Indians for the first time since June of 2016. That was prior to the trade that brought him to Baltimore. He was pitching for Seattle. And he actually pitched really well that day. 7 shutout innings to pick up the win. That is his 1 win in very few appearances against the Indians. This is his 4th career start against the Indians. Ball 3, so another 3-2 count.
Well, how did he get there? He got to 1 and 2. He threw him a slider down and in, and we think, well, why am I doing that? To strike him out, or am I going to go away? And they come right back in. And in this ballpark, if you go in, you better go in, because the routine fly ball to left field is not routine. It's a home run, or it certainly has an opportunity to be that. Now you got to throw a strike again.
And he throws a breaking ball, and Gonzalez swings through it.
So 7 pitches to finally get to where he makes a perfect pitch. And there is that backdoor slider. Back foot slider. Throw it. Hope that he thinks it's going to be on the plate. A great angle right here. You'll see it come down and go right towards the chalk line.
First strikeout for Miley. Gonzalez retired. Trainer comes over to check on the foul ball off his foot. Here's Daniel Robertson, who's getting a start in right field tonight. Robertson at 216. He is in an 0 for 21 drought. It's slowly to Scope. To Tejada, back to first, double play. That'll end the inning. So Miley gets out of it without any further damage. Indians do get the lead on a single, a triple, and a single, but a 4-6-3 ends the Cleveland second. game. Edward Wade of Baltimore has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight, and that's already occurred as Seth Smith went deep in the first inning. Play Home Run Rich's scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/homerun. That is a beautiful sight. She's already texting. Oh, these kids pick up the technology right away, Jim.
No, she's got the MLB at bat app.
She's checking the pitch counts. What a cutie. So Clevenger allowed Smith the home run leading off in the first, then had 2 on and nobody out, but no more runs. And he now has a 2-1 lead. Here's Hyun-Soo Kim to lead off. Tejada and Gentry will follow. With Chris Davis on the DL, Hyun-Soo getting a lot of starts. He is 4 for 16 on the homestand. 1-1. Mike Clevenger did not make the team out of spring training. He was sent down March 26th, then he was called up May 7th. Was with the Indians for about a month. Was sent back down on June the 6th. Then he was called up last weekend. Minnesota and the Indians had a doubleheader in Minnesota, and he was the 26th man and pitched the second game in that doubleheader. And then right after the game, he was sent right back to the minor leagues. So he's been on the shuttle between Cleveland and Columbus.
But he's pitched pretty well at AAA. And as we mentioned last year, 11-1. So he's certainly, they only let him throw like the last 2 starts about 75, 76 pitches. But he's got a good fastball. We saw him, as you mentioned, he did pitch against the Orioles on May 29th last year and didn't have this kind of stuff. Wasn't throwing this hard.
Kim to left center field. That's a base hit. And over to cut it off is Gonzalez to hold Kim to a single. Hyun-Soo had to put on the brakes. He was flying around first base.
Well, he was doing exactly what you're supposed to do, which is because this is a tough play. So you throw the ball right by him, and then you come back with a curveball, and he says, "Thank you very much," serves it into left. But Gonzalez got to catch a short hop out there because it looks like it's going to go into the gap. So again, if he bobbles it at all, you got a chance. I mean, it would have been a tough throw anyway because he's really going hard to his left. Has to do a 180 to throw it in.
That looked like an Ichiro swing, the way he made contact and went with it to left center field.
Well, he just stayed on the ball. The body might have been gone, but the bat had stayed back.
Ruben Tejada will take a strike. Tejada 1 out of 8 in the series, 1 for 11 on the homestand.
Yeah, he started out when he got a chance to play, 4 for 13, and then a little bit of a struggle.
He played some at third base when Manny missed the 4 games.
Whoa.
Almost hit him, and it did hit him.
Not hard, but I tell you, he played dodgeball. So he got out at the Parham's way, and this fastball way inside. And right here, he's going to go, oh, that part of the uni. That's a painless way to get hit by a pitch.
See, Ruben, it hit me here. It hit me here.
Well, the umpires, they can hear it. They can hear the contact. Well, unless they're hard of hearing.
Well, Adam Hamari's a young umpire. I don't think that's the case. So here's Craig Gentry.
Who's the crew chief?
Bill Miller.
Okay, well, he yells at him. He probably doesn't hear as well. You can hear. Yeah. Got to think this is a bunt.
He does have 1 sack on the year.
Well, you got Seth Smith on deck. You know, if you play small ball, you don't usually do it in the American League, but the Orioles aren't exactly at full strength with Hardy out, Chris Davis out, and Jones not playing tonight because they're going on turf for the next, 6 games, even though there'll be an off day on Monday.
And 2 on and nobody out.
And he hit him.
He hit him.
So now they're going to come out and they're going to say, did he bunt? Did he try to bunt? Well,
he's hurt.
Yeah. Well, he could have been hit.
Bill Miller said he didn't offer.
Yeah. Well, I think he's just trying to get out of the way, and it might have hit him somewhere in the groin area. And
Again, he's squaring around and the ball's right at him. So again, you get the bat head out and right in the rib, right in the stomach.
Yeah, right on this number 14.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. Not that it doesn't hurt. It's a lot better than a little lower. And again, there's no way to get out of the way here. I mean, that ball that far inside and running in. So I mean, this is how you do it. You get the bat head out. Now you're playing it. And there's just no way to avoid getting plunked.
And I like how Adam Hamari immediately went to Bill Miller to ask, not leaving any doubt there that he did not offer at the bunt, so the hit batsman loads the bases. So Richie Mancel's making sure that Gentry's okay, and Gentry jogs down to first.
So you got the guy that homered. It's not a good thing when you're pitching and the guy that hit a solo home run to lead off the game is hitting here the second with the bases loaded. It's entirely too many pitches, entirely too many base runners for Mike Clevenger, even though he does have a 2-1 lead.
And he gets ahead 0-1. Now, the way the Indians have the infield, the third baseman Ramirez can come to the plate. Up the middle, it looks like they'll play for two that way, and Santana has his choice. He's close enough that he could come home or make the turn and go to second.
Yeah, we did it. We saw that last night, but the game was 5-0. It was almost like he didn't want to give up a run when Andrew Miller came in. And yeah, I think right now if they know they can get a double play, they will go to get two. Take a look. And again, got to see a lot of pitches, and he just pulverizes his 418 feet opposite field. So now Clevenger in account, even though the bases are loaded, where he doesn't have to throw him a strike. See if he can get him to chase. You could see probably going to be a fastball up out of the zone.
And not even close. 1-2.
Well, you know, it's hard. The Orioles just have not when I played, but when Cal and Mike Messina, the five, he put the 5 down, and that was a kind of a chest-high fastball to see if he was looking for a breaking ball. But in fact, I saw Jeter hit a home run on that pitch when Messina had a 1-run lead. But I'd rather go a little bit in to get him out of the way, because he'd probably throw him a breaking ball, better fastball hitter than breaking ball hitter, and there it is. So again, you want to. I mean, otherwise it's just a wasted pitch. If you throw that same pitch at inside quarter with a high target, might swing it.
So from 0-2 to 2-2 on Smith. Orioles, the best team in the league, runners in scoring position. They're at 304 as a club. Here's a number right back to the mound. Clevenger comes to home, back to first, then he got him. Oh, what a big play by Clevenger. 2 down.
Yeah, what a big pitch. Yeah, home run the first time. And again, looked like he just tried to pull a fastball. There's your 1-2. How often do you see a 1-2 to 3 double play? And that throw just beating the foot. Not by much. And again, it might be something you'll look at, but I don't know if there's anything to change. Certainly can challenge anything, but
John Russell getting the word from the video room that that's not one you want to challenge. So Clevenger's an out away from getting out of a major jam. He is second and third now with 2 down for Manny.
Well, he did it in the first. I mean, it's going to shorten his stay on the mound, with 43 pitches already, but little David Copperfield here, the magic act.
You can see how Manny's taking pitches in this series, Jim, that he's starting to feel better.
Well, it started on Tuesday night when the Orioles were down by 5-2, and Josh Tomlin threw him a great cutter, a pitch probably a week ago he would have swung at, maybe a double play ball, and he hit it 400 and how many feet? 40 feet to left center to tie the game up. Orioles would go on to win that game.
Lace off the breaking ball, 2-0. Clevenger, in his brief time with the Indians, 8 games, 7 starts. He's averaging over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Well, you look at his stuff, Jim, and he would come into kind of the category where I was, where he could be effectively wild, because he can be all over the place, but the stuff is really good.
Ball 3.
I mean, there's 95, and he's got a funky windup. He's got that really quick leg kick. The difference between Corey Kluber and Carlos Carrasco is that he just, at this point in his career, and not a lot of starts, doesn't have their command.
I'm sure Manny has the green light here on 3-0. Second and third with 2 down. He does, and he knocks off the mask of Yan Gomes.
Well, he certainly didn't have a tentative swing. 3-0. He's looking for a fastball, gets a fastball, and there it is. Has a very good swing. And there's no bargain on deck. Scope's got 7 home runs. He's hitting third tonight.
And he'll take the walk. So again, the bases are loaded.
Yeah, he didn't get it. That was a questionable pitch. I think he thought that might have been a strike.
Terry Francona looks like he did.
Yeah,
Mickey Callaway.
Yeah, Gomes are going to have a little conversation. Well, once you get to 3-0, you get 1 shot, and then you're going, okay, do I really want to be pitching to him? Even though Scope with Scope's hitting 392 with runners in scoring position. He's already got a single. And like he tells us, and we talked about in the opening, he's having such a great month. This is where you got to take a deep breath and say, okay, I'm not going to try to do too much. And that's a young hitter's numbers, 196 with the bases loaded, because you think I got to get it done. All you have to do is figure out, and this guy has good stuff, get your pitch till you get to 2 strike and try to do something with it. Don't be swinging at his pitch early in the count. That's the numbers we were talking about there in the bottom of your screen. 392, almost 400.
Checks at the breaking ball, ball 1. And batting average with balls put in play.
Now the league average is usually around 300. Of course, he did hit 25 home runs last year, and the RBIs went up, batting average went up.
Ball 2.
And so now you really get into where he has to throw a strike. You can really, you can look in, out, up, down, soft, hard, and the pressure is on Mike Clevenger.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Chop foul.
Yeah, good pitch down at the bottom of the zone. Jonathan, a hanging breaking ball, a little bit better of a high ball hitter.
Jonathan now has 26 hits in June with his hit in the first inning. 7 home runs and 19 RBIs. He leads the Orioles with 43 RBIs. Fans getting behind him here in the second inning.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when a guy has this kind of arm, you probably hit off 94, 95, and if he hits a slider, there's not a better breaking ball, especially a mistake breaking ball hitter than Jonathan on this team.
Outside, ball 3.
And I've been here, Mike Clevenger, he's going, okay, and Yan Gomes is going to help him. What can I throw over? But in this day and age, with the ball lively as it is in this ballpark, boy, you're 1 pitch away from throwing a grand slam. That's just the way this game has evolved.
3-1 on Scope. Bases loaded, 2 down. Ripped foul. Wow. He got his pitch.
Well, Clevenger has to throw a strike. He's looking fastball, and he gets a fastball. Watch this bat speed. Right in the middle. a little bit too quick. It's 94. What a great camera angle. Boy, he centered that ball.
114
yeah,
miles
that's
an
what
hour.
I'm saying. I said that ball had to be 110, 115, somewhere in there. You got to try to do what Gomes do. Just hit a looper somewhere. No doubt about it. Orioles will take the lead. Great speed with Gentry at second. Manny can run a little bit.
And they'll be off with the pitch, 3-2 with 2 down. So a big moment early in this game.
53 pitches already for Mike Clevenger. This will be pitch number 54.
The runners go, and it's outside, ball 4, and the game is tied. What an at-bat by Scope. You talked about it, Jim. Be patient. He was patient.
Well, I think that foul ball got him a little nervous because he knows it would hit hard, and he just pulls this one off the plate. So here you go, slider, ball 1, ball 2. There's a pitch to hit, has a big swing. Ball 3, trying to hit the outside corner. Here's the rocket that just foul and then pulls it off. Good fastball. I mean, you moved it over about 6 inches. You might be able to live with it. Mickey Callaway going to come out. And this is what I mean. He's not uptight. Your pitching coach come out, big smile on his face. Now, the last thing you want is your pitching coach to come out with a concerned look.
There's Zach Mcallister.
Yeah, we saw him the other night. Another guy that's done some starting. Another guy in the mid-90s with a big curveball.
By the way, remember last night when it was a save situation and you were wondering why Cody Allen wasn't up? It was because he wasn't here.
Yeah. Well, they never, and we kind of talked about that because they're not going to tell you.
Yeah, he's on paternity leave.
Yeah. By the way, they should have. The Orioles probably knew that. We did. I can't imagine you take a guy off a roster and you don't tell the other team. Now, if a guy's not available because he's injured, you're not going to be telling him.
Right. As long as he's active. So here's Trumbo.
Yeah, I saw Michael Bradley and I'm going, well, why isn't he here? Well, he's got an ankle problem.
Trumbo has one of the 2 Oriole grand slams on the year. Game now tied, bases loaded, 2 down. Ball 1 inside.
Yeah, he is. Again, this is a young pitcher. Gomes is hoping and that he's going to be able to spot his stuff. And so he moves in and he forgets it in, but he gets it in for a ball. Really made some good pitches to Mark Trumbo with his breaking ball the first time, but he got ahead. He threw strike 1.
Off speed pitch.
Yeah, that wasn't quite as well thrown as the first time around, but got away with it. So there you go. I mean, Carrasco and Kluber and even Josh Tomlin, they're control guys. Kluber and Carrasco power guys, but Josh Tomlin throws nothing but first pitch strikes.
In the dirt, won't chase.
No.
Been a real good inning for the Orioles with their patience.
You also got a guy that's talking about walking on the wild side, Mike Clevenger. And I could see why. You're young, you come into this ballpark, first guy smashes one about 415 to left center, and it's easy to maybe pitch away from contact or try to be perfect, and that's hard to do, especially when you're that young, that inexperienced.
Fouls it off, 2-2. Trumbo struck out his first at bat, one of the 2 strikeouts for Clevenger.
Well, he gets back into a breaking ball count. He's been behind everybody, so when he has thrown a breaking ball, but even 2-2, you don't want to go 3-2 again. He's already walked in 1 run.
This ball's crushed. Left field. Oh, it's going to stay in the park. Gonzalez stops it. He makes the catch. It must have been right off the end of the bat. So Trumbo gives it a ride, but the ballpark holds it. Orioles scratch out a run. We head to the 3rd, tied at 2. Bay will be in town to begin a 3-game series. And then on Saturday, July 1st, first 25,000 fans 15 and over will receive a Zach Britton bobblehead. Then on Sunday, July 2nd, kids can run the bases ages 4 to 14 following the game, presented by Wise Markets. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. So Wade Miley back even now. Top of the lineup for Cleveland, and there's strike one. Miley has allowed 4 hits. He has struck out 1, not walked a batter yet.
Yeah, Lindor, he doesn't look, I think, is really, I mean, he's listed at 5'11", 190. He can get into it. We saw last night. I mean, he just got a nice smooth swing for the 2-run home run off of Kevin Gausman in the 6th inning.
Well, he does have some outstanding numbers.
Well, he hit 7 of his home runs in the month of April. So got off to a great start, and that's a perfect pitch right there. You know, he got a better pitch to hit 3 and 1, and you know, sometimes you look for the perfect pitch, and then Wade Miley just back-to-back balls right on the outside corner. 282 hitter from this side of the plate with only 3 of his home runs, but he makes the perfect pitch, and he can't quite get to it.
Strikeout number 2 for Miley. First time tonight he's retired the leadoff hitter. Casey Kipnis, the lone lefty in the lineup tonight, takes ball 1. Miley has averaged 5 walks per 9 innings, but he's also averaged a touch over 8 strikeouts per 9.
Yeah, a lot of pitches. Pitches very quickly, though.
In fact, only Kevin Gausman averages more pitches per inning than Miley. Kind of interesting that the Orioles have the top 2 in the league. Kevin's at 19.2, and Miley right behind him at 18.8. So the top 2 in all of baseball in pitches per inning. Center field for Gentry. Ball carries on him, but he'll get back on it. And
yeah.
2 down. Now, speaking of Zach Britton, his bobblehead night coming up on the next homestand. He's continuing his rehab tonight. He went down to Delmarva, pitched in the 1st inning, and a scoreless inning. A couple of strikeouts, did not walk a batter of 16 pitches, 11 strikes.
Well, so let's see. Aberdeen, Delmarva. We could do a little map, a little graph. You do that when you're down in Tampa. You know, trace his path back to the big leagues.
I'll bring that up at the meeting. That's a good idea. He'll be at Delmarva again Saturday.
Oh, you know, so he's not moving. He likes Delmarva.
I think he moved in with his brother. Buck is the hitting coach there, so he can hang out there with his brother.
So he gave up a hit. Got his work in.
Ryan Minor, former Oriole, the manager of the Shorebirds, longtime manager.
Oh, you mean the guy that ruined Cal Ripken's streak?
He ruined it.
2,632 games.
Does Cal know?
Yeah, exactly. Who was Ray Miller? I think the manager.
Yeah, Ray Miller. Yeah. That was a very strange night. It was a Sunday night.
Yeah, it was.
And the Orioles wouldn't post their lineup. And everyone's wondering what's going on. I mean, there's no lineup. And then we found out later why. Three and one on Ramirez, 2 outs and the base is empty.
I did that game. I think I was here. Why it was a night game, if it wouldn't be a national game, I don't know. But I was thinking Cal's going to say, well, hey, made a mistake. I'm coming back. I'll pinch hit in the 8th or something. That would have worked, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
And that is ball 4 on a very close pitch.
Now there's your first walk, and but not by much, but it counts. Of course, you know, Jose Ramirez, 9 straight games with 2 hits or more, as you mentioned. So he's seeing the ball real well. And what it does, that walk, it gets Encarnacion, Edwin.
It gets Edwin up. He flied out to center field his first at bat. That move, it looked like his cleat got caught as his lead foot came down on the mound.
Well, Jose has stolen some bases, but you know, 7 out of 11. Michael Brantley with 7 also, as does the rookie Zimmer.
Well, Wellington Castillo's done an outstanding job. You look at his numbers.
Okay, this is not a good running situation. You got a guy with a great move, so he'll pick you off if you get too big a lead or he gets you leaning. And I'll tell you what, the way that Encarnacion is swinging the month of June, Terry Francona is not running himself out of this inning. He'll take his chances with this at bat. It was kind of interesting, you know, if you read the Cleveland Plain Dealer today, they were very happy that Edwin didn't have a big night last night, and they still won.
Check swing, and he went too far. Hamari said he didn't check. Encarnacion pointing to first, but it was already called a strike.
Yeah, a little change up, I think. And with his strike, that could have been a home run over the right field wall. I mean, Kipnis hit it off the end of the bat and went 400 feet.
Look out, there goes the bat. And unfortunately, it stayed on the field of play. Mike Sarbaugh, the third base coach, will pick it up.
Well, we saw him take, you know, Kevin Gausman, who can throw in the mid-90s. He took a bunch of one-handed swings last night. Yeah, you can see where the pine tar or whatever substance they're using, the claw is right up there on the trademark, and there goes the bat throw.
Castillo got hit with the ball. Now 2-2 for Wellington. He seems to get hit every game. Center field, heading towards the gap. Gentry over to cut it off. Nicely done. And he holds Ramirez at second base. What a job by Gentry.
Yeah, I don't think Ramirez wanted to get thrown out. And of course, if he makes the throw, you may see Encarnacion go to second. You got to make sure you hit the cutoff, and so he hangs a curveball. He doesn't miss it, but he can run. I mean, he's a great defensive player. It's never a great base runner, pinch runner. Every time he would come in a game when he was playing for the Rangers, he knew it was a running situation, and he could steal bases even though everybody knew he was going to try. Not too many base runners can do that.
A lot of opportunities in this series. 16 out of 43 runners in scoring position for Cleveland. Here's Santana. And Miley looking for the shutdown inning after the Orioles got this game even. Got the first 2 outs. And then a very close pitch on a 3-2 called ball 4 to Ramirez. Of course, the Orioles looking to win to split this series and have a winning homestand. They also would love to snap that streak. 18 consecutive games of 5 or more runs allowed. Adam Jones getting tonight off, at least the early part.
Well, they'll do that any way they can, but that streak is getting a little annoying.
They passed the 1901 Philadelphia Athletics last night by allowing the 5 runs. Only the 1924 Phillies, between the O's and the record, 1924 Phillies allowed 5 or more runs in 20 consecutive games.
Chris Davis, a couple of injections, PRP injections for the oblique on the right side. Oh, what a freak injury that was. Yeah, kind of hit the high fly ball, just missed a home run in Chicago. Grimace after the swing, and well, kind of almost fooled Wellington Castillo. He backhanded that fastball.
Chris is going to travel with the team to Tampa, and then when the team leaves to go to Toronto, he'll spend a few days in Sarasota to get in that nice warm weather down there. Hang out with Dave Walker at the rehab center. Swing and a miss at a real good changeup.
Well, that's the way he has to pitch because, again, he's not a command guy. It's kind of a left-handed version of Clevenger, but much more experience. So he's going to trick you. This is a real good breaking ball, and Santana, who's the master of taking base on balls, he's thinking, okay, already got 4 home runs from this side of the plate as a switch hitter, 5 the other way.
And the 3-2 is inside, ball 4.
See, but you throw him back to back, and he picks the second one up, and now all of a sudden you got the bases loaded. Pitch count is what, at 63. And here comes Roger McDowell. Boy, he's getting his work in lately.
Well, Miley has faced 14 batters, and 5 of the batters already have gone to 3-2 counts. Clevenger's at 59 pitches through 2 innings. Miley now at 63 pitches through 2 2/3. And this inning very frustrated. He retired the first 2 batters. Now a walk, a single, and a walk has loaded the bases. Here are the splits. First time through the order 298, second time 293, third time 189. And Miley needs a big out to keep this game tied to get the Orioles back up there against Clevenger. And keep those arms dry. On this muggy night. And Ramirez, Encarnacion, and Santana third to first with 2 down. And Austin Jackson up. Strike at the knees.
Yeah, we got a note today that almost a little over 7% of the plate appearances against Wade Miley have been 3-2 counts, and he's walked 27 now, adding to that total of the night when he goes to those counts. Well, it's just harder. I always thought that, boy, 2-2. Everybody talks about numbers, 1-1 big counts. The difference, what happens 1-1, you go 2-1 or 1-2. But I thought I don't want to go to 3-2 because then you have to throw for more of the plate. So you try to avoid those counts. And how do you do that? You really work on being able to throw the ball over the plate and moving it around. And how do you do that? You figure out where your release point is. And he's just getting himself into counts where he has trying to make perfect pitches. Now, you go back and you look at the last time you faced Austin Jackson, you got behind him, you threw him a fastball up out over the plate, and he hit a triple. But now what are you going to do? You got to throw a strike. And his changeup is probably his 3rd pitch. And that's probably the right pitch, but I don't know if he has any idea whether he can throw it over. So you're pitching yourself into bad counts.
Fouls it off down the right side. That'll be back out of play. Count to 2-2.
And we see him when Wade Miley, when he gets, he can go to 93 or 4, but it has to be when he's ahead in the count. So here's that count that I talked about. What can I throw? What do I know I can make a good quality pitch? Again, how does that pitch match up to the guy at the plate? Because I don't, with the bases loaded, want to go to 3-2. Looks like it's going to be a fastball inside.
Fouled it off a little late on the swing.
And then the good lefties, they always can turn the ball over once you go in. And then go to the other side of the plate with a 2-seamer, maybe a changeup.
Orioles, of course, will be in Tampa tomorrow night. The Rays are already home, and they are off tonight. So Tampa will be well rested for the opener tomorrow. Just inside, ball 3.
Nice, that inside. You can see from this is the definitive, and it is. It's the ball off the plate inside. And of course, Austin Jackson's looking right down at that inside corner. I always ask hitters sometimes, how do you know? Wade Boggs said, I just put my hands over the inside part of the plate, so anything inside my hands is a ball.
Hit towards short. Tejada can't reach it. It's into left field for a base hit, and 2 runs are going to score. So on another 3-2 count, Jackson comes through. He has a 3 RBI night, and it's a 4-2 Indians lead.
Well, you talked about the fact that, I mean, all good teams, whether it's the Red Sox, Chris Young, they go get Austin Jackson. You know, big hit on Monday night right here. He's going to get a pitch to hit because it's 3-2. You don't want to walk in a run. He's quick enough because it's in the middle of the plate. Tejada can't get it. And he goes, it's 2 outs. Encarnacion running with the pitch and on contact easily scores to double up the Orioles at 4-2.
And here is Yan Gomes, the 7th Indian to bat this inning. Gomes with a bloop RBI single in the 2nd. So twice in this game the Orioles have scored for Miley, and he has not been able to have a shutdown inning next time he took the mound. Another bloop. Mancini will get there, makes the catch, and goes into a slide. Mancini nicely done at first, but the damage done. 2 outs and nobody on. The Indians rally for 2. Mancini ends the 3rd. Draft picks, and there's the 2nd round pick. That's Adam Hall, an infielder from Ontario, Canada. His hometown is London in Ontario. Born in 1999. He was the Orioles' 2nd round pick, 60th overall. And Dan Duquette said following the draft he has a lot of skills that they like. So he will now head to Sarasota, and we'll see where they place him. Usually with the high school picks they play for Gulf Coast.
Yeah, I think they also signed the 3rd round pick, Zach Lothar.
Yeah, he's the kid from Xavier that led the Big East Conference.
And then also Michael Baumann. He signed.
So still waiting for the number 1 pick, DL Hall, the left-handed pitcher from Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah, I looked up. Well, how about Gavin Sheets, Larry's son, number 49 pick.
And he got drafted by the White Sox when the Orioles were in Chicago, ironically.
He already signed. So wish him luck. He got their slot was, I think, almost $1.4 million.
Well, he was a senior, right?
Yes, at Wake. I thought it was Duke, but it was Wake Forest. That probably makes a big difference if you go to Wake Forest.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
So don't make that
I apologize.
Mistake again.
No, I cleaned it up. You're either a Deacon or
a Blue Devil.
A Blue Devil. So there's a big difference there. I mean, that's kind of like if you're a Libra, no balance in that. A Blue Devil or a Deacon.
What about a Tar Heel? Foul off his foot. Or the Wolfpack. NC State. So you have Tar Heels of University of North Carolina, B.J. Surhoff's alma mater.
And then you got Tim Stoddard, who pitched for the Orioles. He was on that undefeated NCAA basketball championship. You ought to have seen the big boy play basketball. It was unbelievable. There's a nice slider. So Clevenger, he kind of somehow miraculously gets himself out of trouble in the first and the second, and now got himself a 2-run lead again. Perfect slider. Yeah, again, if you walked it up to home plate, edge of the ball right on the corner, Trey Mancini's hoping that it's going to be called outside, and it wasn't.
Castillo was called out on strikes his first at bat. Another one on the outside corner. Castillo 6 for 38 since coming off the DL. He had the games he homered in back-to-back games, including a grand slam.
Well, they got him a win in Chicago. They turned their 5-4 deficit into, with one swing, 8-4. The Orioles would go on and win that game, what, I think 10-6. And the next day, in a loss, he had another home run. In fact, the grand slam was like 438 feet.
Serves it to right. That ball's going to fall. There's a base hit. Running it down as Robertson does a nice job. He barehanded it, almost overran it. So Castillo on with one down. He's serving it the other way.
Yeah, a little breaking ball that, you know, you got to let it travel. Ends up in the middle of the plate, but the approach, that's kind of the approach that Wellington has. And there's what you talked about. Ball took a little backspin. You know, he's a up the middle, really right, left, center gap hitter, and that's why he can be a tough out.
Fastball's high to Hyun-Soo Kim.
I think it's about time for Mr. Kim to hit one out of here. Doesn't do it very often. Hit what, 5 last year.
It's been almost 2 months. His lone home run was on April 24th.
Actually, I'm getting Gavin Sheets was a junior at Wake Forest.
Well, thank you, Larry, for filling.
No. I got that from Dave Johnson, Dean Albany. Roy Firestone sitting out in the valley. You didn't know that.
Dude, you have people.
I do have people. I'm happy about that.
I got to get me some people. 1-1 on Kim. Castillo at first and one down. Good take. Kim singled to left field his first at bat. Did a real good job. It was an outside pitch on the outer part of the plate. And he took his time and then slapped it that way. Outside again, ball 3.
Well, you try to read the bat, and you know, the scouting report on Hyun-Soo Kim is, hey, he's a good fastball hitter. So he throws fastball by him. They come back with a break. I mean, breaking ball, get him out with that, and he hangs it, and he just serves it into left. So the approach was impeccable.
Right there, 3-2.
Well, there goes your home run pitch. Wasn't looking for it. Yeah, one of the things you try to avoid if you're Mike Clevenger is that ground ball by Castillo, and Santana's going to play behind him now because of the count. Got to take away that hole. And there's the emergency hack.
So Kim having a prolonged at bat. He's about to see the 7th pitch. Kim's home run came right here at Camden Yards against Tampa Bay on April 24th. And he takes a walk. Another outstanding at bat by Hyun-Soo Kim. So Kim will take first. Here's our Heritage Automotive Road Ahead. Heritage Automotive offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit us in-store or online at heritagedealers.com. Well, we head to St. Petersburg for the weekend. 7 o'clock game tomorrow night, 4 o'clock game on Saturday, and then a 1 o'clock game on Sunday on the getaway day. Then the Orioles continue. They head to Toronto. day off on Monday, which the Orioles certainly are looking forward to. And Mcallister getting up again. He was up last inning.
Yeah, very adept at pitching more than one inning. So you give Clevenger an opportunity. They keep getting them leads. Gave up run on the first. They got him 2. And he gives up another run. They get him 2. But the pitch count already at 74, and where are they going? They got to get on a plane and go somewhere too.
They're going home.
Yeah, well, still got to get a plane. And
here's Tejada. Ground ball to third. Ramirez goes to Kipnis. And back to first for a double play. The second big double play for Clevenger in this game. Through 3, 4-2 Indians. Chapman of the Yankees, 102.9 miles per hour. The pitch with the most velocity in MLB this season. He struck out Eric Young Jr. of the Angels. Yankees won that game to snap a 7-game losing streak and go back into first place because Salvador Perez hit the go-ahead grand slam. Royals beat the Red Sox 6-4 yesterday. And it was Salvador Perez using Miguel Cabrera's bat from Detroit. He gave it to him as a present, and he hit a grand slam. Tampa Bay scored 4 in the 6th and beat the Reds to win the series. They are now 8-1-3 over the last 12 series.
Yeah, they have moved into 3rd place in the American League.
So Miguel Cabrera very generous. The backup catcher Butera got the gift, and then he gifted it to Salvador Perez. And regardless of how he got the bat, he liked it so much he hit a grand slam.
You mean the all-star, perennial all-star catcher?
Gold Glover.
That guy.
Plays almost every day. Day game after night game in the heat, doesn't matter.
Well, they are, I mean, they're 4 back. 4 back at Cleveland. Everybody, when we were there, of course, they beat the Orioles 3 in a row, all by 1 run. What, 3-2, 4-3, 9-8. There's a nice breaking ball. So again, get a young hitter, make a good pitch, get ahead. Nice little breaking ball underneath the strike zone, but close enough to entice him to swing. That's how your pitch count goes down. Nice pitch.
And then Castillo ducking away from the backswing there.
Yeah, Bradley Zimmer, #1 draft choice. He's looking on tonight.
He may not know what to do when he's not playing. #1 draft choice in the minors. You know you're in there every day. Robertson bounced into a double play that ended the 2nd.
Well, it's not like Zimmer can't hit lefties. I mean, he's 273, so they just give him a night off and get somebody else in there. That's the great thing about having Austin Jackson. He's a superb center fielder. So not only do you get him on your team, but he can play all over. He just happened to be with the bat having a great series against the Orioles.
Miley gets ahead 1-2.
There's 94 when he gets a hit, but
bounces foul. The Indians have won 7 of 8, 9 of 13 to take over first place in the Central. The 4-game sweep in Minnesota got that done. Game lead on Minnesota, and the Twins are in Cleveland this weekend. Bounce towards third and foul. Miley threw 37 pitches in the 3rd inning. And that inning started with 2 outs and nobody on. Just missed. I will say Adam Hamari early on here is pretty consistent. He's not overly generous, but he's consistent. On the 3-2, he pops it up. That's playable for Gentry. And 2 down in the Cleveland 4th. Last weekend, the Orioles wore the special Father's Day uniforms. So go online now, Orioles.com/auctions, and you can bid on these autographed and authenticated game-worn jerseys and caps. All the proceeds benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation. The bidding will close on Saturday at 10 p.m., so don't miss out. Orioles.com/auctions. Lindor foul. Miley looking for his first 3-up, 3-down inning. He retires Robertson on his 7th 3-2 count of the night. 7 of the 18 batters.
So that 7.1% has gone up of all the batters he's faced this year.
Here's a good looking pitch right at the knees, 1-2. One thing about Miley, he generally is at the bottom end of the strike zone. So when he misses, he usually misses down. This is his 4th start against the Central this year. He has not yet won a game. He has seen the White Sox twice, on one with a no decision, and he has a no decision against the Tigers. Ground ball wide of first. Mancini will go to the base unassisted. Races on, and he got him. Mancini went into a slide. So Lindor busting it down the line, but Mancini with a good play, and he went into the slide to avoid a collision. Bounce it at first, wide of the bag. Mancini wins the race. Baseball is brought to you by the all-wheel drive RAV4. Toyota, what drives you? Visit buyatoyota.com for great deals. Well, between innings, John Russell managing tonight, talking with Wade Miley, or Wade Miley explaining to him what's bothering him. Maybe some of the close pitches. And here's Gentry leading off.
Oh, you would think that, John certainly, even the acting manager, the former catcher, in fact, a very good catcher, they would be able to relate to each other.
Now, Clevenger, he's been living on the tightrope, but he keeps getting big outs. 2 double plays already in this game. Orioles have left 6 men on, including the bases loaded in the second.
Well, he came in with a 208 runner in scoring position number, and so he's been pretty stingy when he has gotten runners into scoring position, which has been the case tonight too.
Gentry was hit by a pitch on what started out as a sacrifice bunt attempt. He pulled the bat back and it hit him right on the number 14 in the front. And here's a base hit. Jackson runs it down to keep it to a single. Now, Clevenger, a young pitcher, this is his 26th game in 18 starts, and here's the difference last year versus this year on the road. So maybe adapting the room service.
Yeah, well, he's getting to pitch a little bit more than he did last year, so strikeouts gone up. I mean, he struck out people last year. I mean, look at the home runs. He's kept the ball in the ballpark, even though tonight led off the game with a home run. But all the other numbers down precipitously. That's right, young man.
That's a good word.
Precipitously. They plummeted.
Here's Seth Smith.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of one of those good news, bad news. The good news is he's got great stuff. The bad news, he likes to pitch with runners on.
Yeah, right.
that could drive your manager crazy. Well, at least the Orioles hit their way on, even though he's walked a few.
This is the 13th batter he's facing from the stretch.
Well, how about Carlos Carrasco, who really kind of turned his career around, going to the bullpen and then starting. He pitched the whole game last night as a starter from the stretch, which is kind of unusual. He was lights out for 6. But see, he was smart enough to know if I load him up with nobody out, Andrew Miller's going to come in and save me, and he did. It's pretty amazing.
Won't chase 1-2 on Smith, who really had the big at bat in the second inning. He was up with the bases loaded, nobody down, and hit a comebacker right to Clevenger, who began a 1-2-3 double play. The Orioles would eventually get a run with 2 down on a bases loaded walk to Scope, but it could have been a much bigger inning.
Yeah, the composure to do what you do in spring training. Catch it, you get it to the catcher, and then they turned a nice double play.
Gentry's running, pitch is taken, throw to second is high, the tag, he's out.
Oh.
Out is the call by Kerwin Danley. I'm sure they're going to look this over.
Well, he was up, and watch him here. So let's see, does he get him?
No, he missed him. Looked like he missed him completely.
Well, that brushed the back of his leg, but I think was his hand on the base. So this is going to be your definitive call. And I think he's probably out. If they think he touched the leg, so does the hand beat the tag?
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yep.
You're right. From the other angle, it was an illusion. It looked like he missed him, but he did.
And if you did challenge it, they'd look at it. You'd lose the challenge because our cameras did a great job of covering, what, 4 different angles. And that's what they look at in New York, and probably a few more. So that's a big play.
Well, Yan Gomes, like Castillo, does an outstanding job. He's gunning down 47% of potential base stealers.
Yeah, you watch him throw. Very quick release. Not a Johnny Bench arm, but not those arms don't come along very well. Out by what, about 8 inches or so?
Or less.
Yeah.
Smith fouls it back on 3-2.
Well, that's part of it. You have to get him the ball. You have to, you like to be under 1.3 seconds. They call it the pop-up time of catchers. They would like to have that around 1.8, 1.9, under 2 seconds. And if you can do that, even though Gentry has above average speed, you got a chance to throw somebody out. If you're way over that, even average base runners can steal, and that's what they look at. That's why they put the stopwatch.
Oh. Smith to center field. Jackson back on it. And he's got it for the out. 2 down. So 2 down and the base is empty. Fans, on Friday you can join the O's Zone Rally team presented by Budweiser from 6 to 8 p.m. at Nick's Fish House in Baltimore. Former Oriole Larry Bigby will be there, as will the Oriole Bird. For the complete schedule and rally info, visit Orioles.com/rallies. Fans on the flag court having a good time. That is always packed. That flag court railing.
It's where you can mingle.
As is the standing room behind the bullpens in left center field. That area is always packed. Because out there they want to be close to your statue.
Of course. Well, actually, there's more than my. There's a lot of statues out there. You just have
there you are,
right
Jim.
There. There's Cal right to my left, to our right. Let's see.
There's Frank behind the tree.
Frank.
There's Brooksy.
There's Earl.
There's Earl. And there are the fans along the railing out there.
And there's Eddie somewhere out there. Eddie Murray. One of 4 players with 5. There's Eddie. Coiled. Let's see. 586 home runs right there with Frank. 504. Frank had 2,948 hits, I think. Eddie, one of 4 players with 500 home runs or more than 3,000 hits. It's a pretty select group. And 3 count. Aaron, Mays, and Murray.
That's a good list.
And Rafael Palmeiro, but his number is somewhat tainted because of testing positive.
Manny pulls it to third. Ramirez gobbles it up. And a 3-batter inning after the single in the caught stealing. We will head to the 5th. Indians with a 4-2 lead.
And now with the glove, great play right there to get out of the inning. And then look at Lindor hustler down the line, and he better get over there, and he does. Real time right here. You can see why he didn't stand up. I mean, very, very close. Lindor thinking maybe I'll get another hit. So again, not a one-dimensional. What was he, the 3rd round? or worst, 8th round, 6th round, up there. It's turned out pretty well.
Here's Kipnis, and he'll take ball 1 high.
Eighth round, 2013.
See how many players went ahead of him. This one slapped down the left field line. Trouble if it's fair, and it is fair. It's a base hit. Kim plays the carom, and Kipnis hustles in the second base.
Now they hit it everywhere you throw it. That's the kind of series we've seen from them. I mean, sustained rallies. They've hit some home runs. Encarnacion and Lindor with 2-run shots, and they'll spray it from foul line to foul line. Amazing thing, this ball actually stays in the ballpark. It looked like it might have hit the foul pole and kicked back.
So a runner at second base leading off here in the 5th.
See what Ramirez does. He tries to shoot one to right.
Instead, he pulls it to Tejada. And has to fire across to get the hustling Ramirez for the out. So an unproductive at bat as Ramirez bounces out. Orioles baseball on Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you.
Yeah, nice little pitcher as Gabriel, will get loose. Yeah, slider on his fist. I don't think he wanted to hit it to the left side, but he did.
Encarnacion with a runner at second. He'll take ball 1. Encarnacion contributed in the 2-run rally in the 3rd after Ramirez walked with 2 down. He singled to center field. Foul back out of play. "37 pitches in the 3rd inning. Other than that, Miley's been fairly pitch efficient. But he is pushing 100 as he works here in the 5th inning because of that long 3rd inning.
So he's probably like to get out of this inning. I mean, of course, he's also trying to get out, not giving up another run. The most pitches he threw this year is against the Nats. Back on the 10th of June, 119, 117 in his last game against the Chicago White Sox. Roger McDowell looking on.
And a little bit low, 2-1.
Well, he will not swing, and he's got a pretty good idea of what he wants to hit.
Breaking ball bounces in there for ball 3.
And it's almost like Wade Miley. I mean, he knows what the pitch count is, and he also knows what the scoreboard's telling him. He said, I don't know if I really want to pitch to Encarnacion. I think my chances with Santana. And of course, if you're John Russell, the interim manager, you got to go, who do I want to face? Do I want Miley, where he's closing in on 100 pitches, or Noah coming in to face Santana with more power from the left side if you're going to make a pitching change? And there is Carlos. I mean, Encarnacion is pretty much kind of subbing for Mike Napoli, who drove in 101 runs
and went back to Texas.
Yeah, hit 34 home runs for the Indians last year.
Towards the middle, Jonathan Scope has it, off balance throw, will get him. And that saved the run for the moment.
Yeah, because of positioning, Kipnis will go to third. hits it pretty hard, but he's up the middle, and then all he's got to do is catch it, which he does right about now, and then off balance, but very accurate throw.
Jonathan and Manny are amazing how accurate they are when they throw off balance. They have such confidence in the strength of their arms.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit easier throw for the second baseman because he's pretty much direct in line with first baseman, you know, from that angle. But the third base throws that Manny makes, you know, the different arm angles and the accuracy is uncanny. But then again, Bobby Dickerson looking on, that's Paul Yanish to his left, who's a terrific fielder. But again, that's why Manny's Manny, because he can do that. And the arm strength, unbelievable.
Here's Carlos Santana, who's got the old school look, trying to get the strike zone smaller. Look where the pants are. They're above his knees.
That's right. Oh, that's my knees. Well, like we said, struck out 99 times last year, walked 99 times. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody go that high, unless you're kind of coming out.
Looks like he's
for
wearing
batting
shorts.
Practice. Yeah. Well, he thinks he's playing for the White Sox back in the 70s.
That's old school. You raise the pants up and.
Well, that's even more. Well, that's way back school. Yeah, he's not going to swing at anything but what he wants to look for. And I think you probably, if he doesn't get Santana out, and I think Wade knows this, and you can see that 37 pitches, you probably will see a Noah because Jackson's coming up. They're not going to pinch hit for him. And there's a strike, low and away. Get him out. Have you get out of the inning. Of course, don't qualify for the win unless you get it out here.
Well, 3-1, and chop towards Tejada to his left, and Ruben will get it to first. So Miley gets out of it. Leadoff double doesn't score. Bottom of the fifth coming up. Indians have the lead. Now the Orioles trail 4-2 as they get set to bat here in the bottom of the fifth inning. J.J. Hardy display. J.J. on the DL with the broken wrist. Jonathan Scope will lead off, then Trumbo and Mancini. Jonathan singled in the first, walked to drive in a run in the second. Bases loaded walk. Check swing and it's low.
Get a guy on and get the tying run coming to the plate. when it happens to be Mark Trumbo waiting on deck. So
popped up wide at first. Santana hoping for a play, and it spins back to him, and he makes the catch right by the tarp.
Yeah, and all the ground crew on the stools getting out of the way, taking the stools with them. And that takes one look right there as everybody scatters. You can see him running towards.
Well, the security that sits on the field do a good job of getting out of the way of those foul balls. Want to give the players as much room as they can. Whoa.
Whoa.
He got out of there so fast he almost went down.
Oh, he did go down. The guy that mattered didn't. That was Carlos Santana.
Trumbo flied out to left field to end the second. He stranded the bases loaded.
Yeah, big swing, and he did get that slider out on the bat. And you know, off the bat nowadays you think, okay, maybe it's a home run, and there's a good slider. Makes a little left turn right at home plate. Well, the one thing, I mean, you learn about young pitchers when they have nights like this where their command's a little bit off, and you know, are they going to fold the 10 or are they going to battle? Yeah, Clevenger has made some big pitches. There's another pop-up hit.
Santana more room this time, and again the security guards get out of there, so 2 down. Let's get a look at our Pnc minor league report. Pnc for the achiever in you.
So Drew having a very nice year. We were talking about it because he is a third baseman, and I was talking to Brian Graham, the Orioles farm director. He said he's done a nice job as he's come up the ladder. You can see 7th round pick 2013.
It's a pretty good 10-day stretch there for Drew.
Well, he's also over 300 for the year.
Started at Bowie and then quickly was promoted. There's a bouncer towards the middle. Lindor, a diving stop, throws late, and Mancini has a base hit. What a play by Lindor to get to that ball.
Well, the magic wand, though. Hit them where there ain't. Or I think it was chain got in the way. I mean, look at the chain. I know a lot of players wear them and bouncing all over, hitting you in the face. Great range here. I mean, right there. And right there, it hits his face about 3 times. Apparently, it doesn't distract him. Or maybe it did.
And here's Castillo representing the tying run. Looks at a breaking ball for a strike. By the way, one more minor league note. Austin Hayes, who we featured the other night, got promoted. Tonight was his Double-A debut. He got a base hit for Bowie in his first at bat. How about that? So he takes that hot bat from Frederick to Bowie. Ended up going 1 for 4, and the Bay Sox beat Binghamton 5-4. That's pretty impressive. Oh, 2.
Yeah, he hadn't thrown many changeup. Threw one last inning, and that was it. So mixing up his pitches as the game progresses. You know, he threw a little bit over 106, 108 in AAA. Never at the big league level because again, got so many options with his bullpen. We saw Mcallister up already, so he can come in at any time, and he's done a nice job for him. And then you get to the back end of the bullpen, which is real good. The velocity's gone down a little bit as the game has progressed, but he's thrown a lot of pitches because that's got to be closing in right up, 99.
Mcallister up for a 3rd time. And he got him. Real good slider, so a 2-out hit and a man left. We are through 5. Cleveland with a 4-2 lead.
Orioles need to win tonight to even up this series. Nice start. Seth Smith backspins one 415 feet, but here come the Indians. Austin Jackson's had a great series right here. A triple for a run, then a 2-run single. 2-2 ball game at that time, makes it 4-2. Miley's still out there. Those are your Geico highlights. 15 minutes to save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com to see how much you could save. And Wade Miley staying out there. Just about 2 hours and, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Went out there for the first time. You can see a lot of pitches. Not the kind of mix you want. 59 strikes, 46 balls.
Well, how about this? Through 5 innings, the two starters have combined to throw 205 pitches.
Yeah, Richard Blyer. The last inning for the Orioles. Richard Blyer, the lefty acquired from the Yankees in spring training.
Well, if Miley is capable of doing this, this is a good move by Roger McDowell to leave him in. Try to get, maybe he'll have one of those quick 3-up, 3-down innings. This is a flare down the line and foul.
Well, his average pitch per inning, and it's the second highest in major leagues. Guess who's number 1? Of course, that came down a little bit last night. That's Kevin Gausman. 4th in the most amount of pitches, and he's averaged a little bit over that at 4.15. There you go. Roger McDowell, Scott Coolbaugh, and in the middle, and then on the right, Brian Graham.
He is bench coach tonight with Buck away. Buck becoming a grandfather today.
And congratulations to the
Buckwalter
family.
Now 1-2 on Jackson, who's had a big night. He has driven in 3 of the 4 Cleveland runs.
Little changeup slowed the arm down, and he read it, so he takes it. So what, 119? He's got a. Not that he can't throw more than that.
And there's a base hit. Austin Jackson has a perfect night. Kim gets to it to hold it to a single, and a leadoff hit for Cleveland. Fans, you can text Masson's word of the day, prevention, to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Chris Davis from Masson. That's prevention to 29292. Brought to you by Chesapeake Employers Insurance, your workers' compensation specialist. So here is John Russell, acting manager tonight. And Wade Miley will leave after 5 innings plus 1 batter, 4-2 game in the 6th.
Miley trying to win for the 2nd time in a row. That's not going to happen. A lot of good pitches. A couple of mistakes to Austin Jackson, which will end up for 4 runs, but mixed up his pitches. And again, there they are, the 4 runs, 4 of them earned, a couple of walks, both in 1 inning, and then the strikeouts 3, a lot of pitches. So he will lead with a runner at first. Austin Jackson. Richard Bleier comes on, who's done a great job for the Orioles. You can see, and again, not overpowering. I mean, he's a finesse guy. Doesn't dominate left-handers, but gets right-handers out because he's got a great changeup, a little kind of, I don't know, kind of a little cut fastball or a little slider. And done a nice job with inherited runners. That's a very good number. Not a good pickoff move. And there it was.
Jackson on with the leadoff single. He is 3 for 3. Bleier in his last 13 appearances has not allowed an earned run. He's allowed 1 unearned run. There was an inning he pitched where there were 2 errors committed in the same inning and a run scored. As Gomes fouls it back. He will give up his share of hits in the 13 games, 13 innings, 11 base hits, 7 strikeouts and 4 walks, but no earned runs in 13 innings. Wade Miley with Dylan Bundy. And again, a throw to first. Jackson does not have a stolen base on the year.
Yeah, you look on at his career early on, and probably what, 4 or 5 years ago, right when he first got to Detroit, he could steal 19, 20, 22 bases.
Towards the middle, there's Scope, flips to Tejada, and back to first, and got him! A double play.
Yeah, Yan Gomes thinks he's signaling safe. Again, Jonathan shaded up the middle, so he's going to get to it quickly. So Ruben's got to do kind of an unconventional, about a 90-degree turn. And he just clears the runner, and they've already lost their challenge, so can't challenge it.
Gomes saying safe, but
that may be a play that you might have challenged, but again, they lost it early on.
So they'll clear the bases and close the book on Miley. Strike taken by Eric Gonzalez. Foul back.
Yeah, Richard Bleier is going to be 87 to 91, and he's going to change speeds, and he's tall and he's lanky and hides the ball pretty well. And he'll go away and then come in with a slider. Again, it's not a hard slider, but it usually keeps it down underneath the knees. This is where Castillo's going to go right here, and yeah, that was one of them.
That ball's hit deep, and that ball's gone. That's into the Oriole bullpen.
Yeah, so he tried, and again, it's a 2-strike pitch. You could see where the glove was, and he just didn't quite get it in, and it sails out of here. No hesitation on that home run trot. It was more like a home run sprint. So again, there's a slider, and it just stays on the inside corner, doesn't get down, all the things he usually does, and he is a big, lanky kid.
So the Indians add to their lead. It's now 5-2. And here's Daniel Robertson with 2 down and the bases empty. So the streak does continue, Jim. 19 consecutive games now. The Orioles pitching has allowed 5 or more runs. 1 off the big league record.
Yeah, that was a great picture of Eric Gonzalez, because he, in his first year with the Dominican League Indians, was all the way back in 2009. So he probably signed when he was 17. He's 6'3", probably weighed about 160 pounds. And here he is, you know, almost at 200. Boy, what an opportunity to sign, and then against realize your dream. Certainly took a while, but I mean, he's like we said, he's hit. He's not a home run guy. Last year he did have a very nice year at Columbus, 296 with 11 home runs.
2-1 on Robertson, who was 0 for 2. Outside, ball 3. And there's ball 4 outside. So after the double play, a home run and now a walk, and the inning continues. Orioles fans, when the O's score 5 runs or more, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com. Just use the promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. Francisco Lindor, his 4th at bat. He's 1 out of 3, singled in the first inning. Hit towards right field. It gets past Scope. There's another base hit for Lindor, and yet another opposite field hit in this series by the Indians.
Well, it's so easy to go up and swing for home runs, and he just stays inside, lets the ball travel, and this is like the old school. I mean, that's just hit it hard to right field. There's a hole over there. You know, everybody talks about that huge hole between first and second. It's not just limited to left-handed hitters if you have a man on first, but that way you could see the approach there.
So the Indians with 10 base hits, they extend that streak. Now 9 consecutive games with at least 10 base hits.
Well, they've also gotten Wade Miley out of the game. You always want to do that, especially for the Orioles, because the middle of their bullpen is inexperienced and from time to time, depending on the pitcher, ineffective. You know, wouldn't have said that last year when they had the best ERA of any bullpen in the American League. But with injuries and the fact that the starting pitchers have just killed the bullpen because of the low amount of innings. And that's why guys have, you know, they're like Southwest Airlines. That's great, but up and back from to Norfolk, and not a very long flight, but a lot of guys having to make it because the starters not doing their jobs, and then you got to go to the bullpen. Then you need a fresh arm. You get guys. I mean, they were, remember when we left spring training, they said, "Oh, we got all these optionable arms." Well, that's good, but the bad news, you don't want to really use them unless you have to, and they've had to.
1-2 on Kipnis. It's a chopper wide at first. Scope will get there. The race is on, and Blyer got there just ahead of Kipnis. Little indecision there. Mancini deferred to Blyer, but Blyer got the out. Cleveland gets another run on the home run mid-6th. It is a 5-2 game. And to find a dealer near you. 5-2 game. Indians adding to it with a home run by Gonzalez in the top of the 6th, and the night is done for Mike Clevenger.
Yeah, really battled him. I mean, he has good stuff. He made a lot of good pitches. He got himself in trouble. He got himself out with a couple of double plays. So again, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. One of those walks actually walked in a run, but a chance to win. Zach Mcallister will come on. Yeah, very good numbers, and hard throwing righty, fastball, curveball, mid to maybe sometimes upper 90s with a fastball. You can see righties have a tough time against him. Lefties with a little better opportunity, and then 3 home runs on the year. It's a little bit of a high number.
Lower third of the Orioles lineup. Hyun-Soo Kim will lead off. Tejada and Gentry are due to follow.
Yeah, that's a 1 number. When anytime your average is that high, I mean, he's had 8 inherited runners and 6 have scored, but that is not the case here. With nobody on, so he comes in a clean inning. Orioles still. And Logan, who really pitched well the other night.
He's getting ready for Seth Smith, who would bat 4th this inning.
Oh, there's 96. Yeah, I ran into Zach in the locker room a couple of days ago, and I said, pretty good numbers. He said, well, Ben, just want to let the other hitters know that I do have a curveball, because primarily, I mean, it does have a good arm. Let's see, at 96. I don't know if he'll throw it 2-1. That will surprise Mr. Kim at the plate. He's looking to hit off that 95, 96.
3rd round pick of the Yankees back in 2006, and then was traded to the Indians 4 years later. Ball 3 to Kim, has got a real good batting eye.
Well, all the Orioles need, and of course, if he struggles, he won't be in there very long with Logan, who's lights out behind him, is that you need somebody to maybe have a little bit of an off night, walk a couple of guys, and you get back in the game.
Kim to center field. That chases Jackson. He's going to get there, and in front of the Orioles bullpen, has it for the out, and 1 down. Fans Chris and Jill Davis will host Crushes Homers for Hearts, benefiting the Pediatric Heart Program of the University of Maryland Children's Hospital. It'll be held on Thursday, July 13th, right here at Oriole Park. Attendees will watch a private Orioles team workout and then participate in a home run derby and more. To learn more, get online Orioles.com/homers for hearts. That is the final day right before the season resumes after the All-Star break. Tejada was hit by a pitch and scored in the 2nd, and he bounced into a double play to end the 3rd. Mcallister made his big league debut in 2011, got into 4 games that year.
Yeah, with Ryan Flaherty out, it's really kind of hard. You saw last year when J.J. Hardy broke his foot, they immediately put Manny Machado over at shortstop, and then they platooned at 3rd base. Certainly wouldn't be out of the question if they could find a 3rd baseman. Manny goes back to shortstop, where he played very well.
Strike 3 call, and Tejada knew it.
Yeah, 95, and again, big, tall, and great extension. He gives up. He thinks that ball is going to be outside. Runs right over the outside portion of the plate.
His favorite movie is Sandlot, which you see quite a bit on MLB Network. And his favorite TV show, The Big Bang Theory.
Really? What? I've never watched it, but it looks like it's. See the characters. The lead character does all the commercials,
right,
of different sorts. Now,
Nick Goody joining Logan.
Yeah, we saw both Goody and Boone Logan, both of them having nice years. But then again, if they're not, you wouldn't have the best bullpen in baseball. And there was the curveball. Yeah, you got guys up behind Mcallister, and 20 of his 24 outings are scoreless. And against righties, we showed the number. They're only hitting 171.
Well, there's a 7-man bullpen tonight with Cody Allen away on paternity leave following the birth of his son. So there's 2 left-handers and 5 right-handers, including Mcallister. Here's Andrew Miller in the far right there. You got a lefty and a righty getting loose. 2.57 the bullpen's ERA. That is the best in the American League. And the bullpen only has 9 wins because the starters do such a good job getting wins. This ball to right center field. Jackson went back, now comes in and straightens out into the gap in right center. 3 up, 3 down go the O's for the first time tonight. Three-game series at the Trop tomorrow night against the Rays. Ubaldo Jimenez goes for the O's. Chris Archer on the mound for the Rays. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 6:30 with O's Extra presented by Jeep. And then game coverage at 7 o'clock. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN.
So at least initially, again, and of course that's here at Camden Yard where the Orioles play a lot better. Able to win 2 out of the 3. So anytime you get Archer, you need to get the hitting gloves on because he can really pitch, and the Orioles need to start winning on the road. And Ubaldo would be nice if he can pitch well enough to win his 2nd consecutive start now that he's back in the rotation.
Strike 1 to Ramirez. Encarnacion on deck, and then Santana. Jose walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Gabriel Noah's back up. That could be for Encarnacion, who bats next. Orioles expect to get Darren O'Day back tomorrow. Pop foul down the line. Mancini over and won't be able to reach it. So the Orioles will have to make yet another player move tomorrow. There's Darren in the bullpen with Brad Brock and Michael Givens.
Yeah, I did the a little pitching out on the field yesterday. So he said he felt good today. He was going out to play catch. A simulated game of sorts.
Popped up to shallow right. Scope is out. Smith is in. Smith gets there and he has it. So 1 down here in the 7th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. A lot of youngsters at the game tonight. School's out, I think.
Yeah, I would imagine so by now.
No more school-aged hunters.
Well, I think that's what they were celebrating. They were celebrating. School is out. Yeah, everybody with the summer shades on.
Checking out the out-of-town scores. Someone got her good seats right behind the dugout. Encarnacion singled in the rally in the 3rd inning. And that's really the inning that Wade Miley would love to have back. They got 2 to break the 2-2 tie, but it was a 37 pitch inning. And it all started with 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, Ramirez was able to eke out a walk on a very close 3-2 pitch. And then got a little breaking ball up to Edwin, and he hit it into left center. And walk to Santana, and the big hit to Austin Jackson, who's had a couple of big hits tonight. There's a nice pitch.
Bouncer to Scope, who had him play perfectly. And 2 down as Jonathan gets it to Mancini. Well, don't forget about this series. The Orioles hosting the Chicago Cubs July 14th through the 16th right here at Oriole Park. And for each game, fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food item or cash donation right here to the ballpark to benefit the Maryland Food Bank. It's all part of the 31st annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive presented by Masson and WJZ. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Get your tickets early. The defending world champion Cubs coming to town. Very rare appearance by the Cubs. So
yeah, the Orioles in that National League Central this year. That's the interleague games. Go to Milwaukee, who is actually he took a poll of baseball fans who's leading the National League Central. I don't think most people would think it's the Brewers. And they are. Won again last night. They are very much, I've been kind of following because I have to do those games. They do what the Orioles do. When they score runs, it's usually by the home run ball. A very friendly ballpark to hit in.
0-2 on Santana on the foul ball. Well, they have the retractable roof there, and most times it's closed.
Yeah, the Orioles have what? They have an afternoon game and then a 4 o'clock game and then a night game.
Yeah, and a night game on the getaway day.
Yeah, well, too much brat, too much beer. That's how that got happened. Which is not a bad combination, but well, not in scheduling.
It happens to be over the 4th of July, and I'm guessing, is July 3rd being considered a holiday because it's a Monday? I mean, the 4th of July is the 4th of July to me, but I guess July 3rd because it's a Monday. And ooh, did it get Castillo's mask?
No, actually, that maybe the back of the helmet.
And the 0-2 is just outside. Or it could be that because it's the day before a holiday, a lot of teams are simply electing to play day games. But that is strange. Day game, late afternoon game, night game. And the 1-2 just outside again. 2-2. Santana's 6th in the American League in walks, and he's added a walk here tonight. 42 so far on the season. Fouled straight down.
Well, you see Richard Blyer, how he pitches. You know, he made one mistake on a slider. Didn't get it in on a 2-strike pitch to Eric Gonzalez, but he's in and out, and that's why you're going to hit balls off your feet and your ankles.
Well, Wellington saying, what are you doing? You hit me with the bat, now you foul a ball off your foot.
You can see the protection. And of course, Santana just did it. He was a catcher when he came up. Wow.
Almost hit Bill Miller.
Yeah.
Wellington might also be saying, hey, get some better pants. 109 miles an hour off the bat. Yeah, there's no doubt that's the highest we've seen a player wear his pants above the knees.
Well, I don't blame on hitters. I mean, how many they wear the blouse pants all the way down to the ground? How does the umpire know where the knees are? I mean, think about that. He's guessing. Yeah, you have a pretty good eye, especially, and of course they call it off would be the left knee, the right knee a little higher than the left. I don't know if he knows that, but
ground ball through the middle, and it gets past Scope for a base hit. So Santana worked the count full, and he gets a base hit. He's 2 for 3.
Well, that makes sense to me, to wear your pants high. So finally, Noah, he's in his 4th inning. He's been up and down so much.
So John Russell is out for the pitching change. Blyer will leave, and Noah comes on in the 7th.
Pitched 3 innings earlier on Monday night against the Indians, so they know what he's about. But again, doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. Fastball, breaking ball, changeup pitcher. Lefties are doing a number on him. Came in. I mean, the first time we saw him this year, other than spring training, is when he had a chance to pitch against the White Sox after Wade Miley was hit by a couple of line drives. Came in and pitched great. Got a major league win. So it's a matchup, righty-righty. I think his fastball can get into the mid-90s.
Austin Jackson has a perfect night. And he has Santana at first with 2 down. There's a strike.
Good one.
Jackson RBI triple and a run scored in the 2nd, 2-run single in the 3rd, and a single in the 6th. So 3 for 3. Yeah, Noah's had an interesting homestand. Last Friday, the Cardinals knocked them around. 5 runs, 3 earned in just an inning and a 3rd. And then the 3 scoreless innings Jim just talked about on Monday against the Indians. He allowed 3 home runs to the Cardinals last Friday night.
Well, there were 22 hit in that series, and he got some balls up, and it was almost like that whole series was a series of batting practice. The ball got in the air, it was going out of here.
0-2 on Jackson. Lifted to right. Smith back on as the ball carries, and he runs it down on the warning track. So the inning ends, a 2-out single and 1 left. Our Mazda do-ups as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Top of the lineup: Smith, Machado, and Scope. stretch, which is presented by the Hyundai Better Than Ever sales event with the best total savings on select models in Hyundai's history. It's going on now at your Hyundai dealer. 5-2 game, and another pitcher on for the Indians.
Boone Logan comes on, pitched the other night, pitched well. And as one of the scouts said, I haven't seen him throw that well. I mean, he had 95, 96, good slider. Again, another high average on the first batter. And of course, anytime that happens, you look at inherited runners, and he's hadn't too bad. He's got 15 inherited runners, only 4 have scored, so pretty good number. And there's the high slider and kind of in the middle of the plate. So they bring him in to match up Seth Smith, and then they have the right-hander right behind him.
Only 2 lefties in the Orioles lineup. In fact, only 2 lefties active. There's a swing and a miss. Here's our Lexus of Towson drive of the game. We go back to the first.
Yeah, he backspins at about 415 feet to left center, and the Orioles are off and running. But Cleveland quieted it down. He is the pitcher of record. He has a chance to win.
Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer for 7 straight years. Come see why at lexusoftowson.com. Boone Logan and Andrew Miller, pretty good 1-2 punch from the left side in that bullpen.
And there is Andrew, who somehow got out of a bases loaded, nobody out jammed. Nobody scored last night. Wow. Laid off that slider.
Logan will turn 33 in August. You saw Brian Graham with John Russell there with the skipper away for a day. Two and 2. Orioles need some base runners here, down by 3. Still have 9 outs to play with.
You know, 66 games for the Rockies last year. 2-5 record, but you know, ERA in the mid-3s. Another pitch he fouls off. So 613 appearances. That's a lot of appearances. Most of them in the National or in the American League. 181 over in the National League.
And on the 7th pitch, it runs inside, so the count full. Smith is just 1 for 6 against Boone Logan.
Well, let's see if Boone pitches to the scoreboard in the sense that he has to throw a strike here. Last thing you want to come in, match up with Machado on deck. He's probably going to be the batter and walk him. Okay, just get me over slider. Pretty hittable. Fouls it off. Pretty good swing.
Well, pesky at bat for Smith. About to see his 9th pitch this at bat.
And sometimes the pitchers will come in and they're only going to face 1 batter, and they walk a guy on a breaking ball, and you go, well, why didn't you throw a fastball? Well, maybe they throw their breaking ball more for strikes.
Another foul.
And there's the heater at 96.
Logan, born in San Antonio, Texas. Still lives in Texas in the offseason. And the 3-2, he got him on a fastball by him.
And here comes Terry Francona. So it took a while, and Seth Smith really hung in there, and finally high fastball. Just can't quite get to it.
So with right-handers coming up, Logan, of course, he gets Smiley, just got a strikeout. Pitching change in the 7th. O's trail 5-2. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
So Nick Goody, who will turn 26 out of Orlando, he comes in. He's had a nice year. Last year pitched for the Yankees, AAA, and then 27 games for the Yanks. So again, incredibly low numbers. Again, only the home runs, 3 of them. And those are against right-handers, and the Orioles still looking to get back in this game. Certainly within reach. Won't be easy against this bullpen, but certainly the opportunity.
Manny has drawn a couple of walks, and he's bounced out to third. He is 7 for 23 on the homestand, which concludes tonight.
Yeah, fastball slider. So it's, and the slider was good the other night. 93, 94. Worked his way through the Yankee organization. Never anything but relief.
It's amazing how much of that you see nowadays.
Yeah, you would like to. I mean, I would imagine you'd like to. In the old days, it used to be okay. You're a starter till you're a reliever. But now, I think the Orioles a couple of years ago, 13 pitchers in the draft, 13 were relievers. So it's hard to, and especially when you're having problems with starters, to develop guys if you're only drafting relievers.
Hard hit ball off the glove of Kipnis in the right field. So Manny has a base hit.
And Beebe. Probably going to try to play tomorrow, so it didn't want to get hurt. So 114 miles per hour. This is the vintage Manny Machado. Let the ball travel. You know he's got a good slider. And then Kipnis can't catch it.
That was a real good looking swing going with the pitch.
Well, that's where his strength is, and he hits off that, and that's the 280 to 300 average. And he'll get back to that if he's patient.
Breaking ball misses inside the scope.
I mean, nobody up in the bullpen. Get a guy on. You got a home run leader in major leagues on deck, and things can happen in a hurry, especially if you make mistakes.
Real good breaking ball, 1-1.
Well, the good news for Jonathan, and he just chased the pitcher's pitch on strike 1, is he didn't put it in play. This is when he'll tell you down the cage, I got to calm down. I got to know what I want to hit. I may not get it. He certainly knows what Nick Goody throws because he faced him the other night. A little bit more hittable slider.
Goody broke in with the Yankees. He was drafted in 2011. He didn't sign. 22nd round that year, and then the following year the Yankees drafted him again in the 6th round, and he did sign. Traded to Cleveland in December. Back this way and up over our heads.
A player to be named later.
I wonder if that player has been named.
No, a lot of times I think, sometimes they'll give you a choice of a certain amount of players.
One and two on scope. Fights it off to stay alive.
Yeah, with the Yankees, 7 home runs in 27 games over 29 innings, so obviously not what you want. high on base percentage. 42 runners in 29 innings, but he was able to strike out more than a batter an inning, and I think the slider probably has a lot to do with that, because it's a pretty good one when he throws it where he wants to. Tried to do it there.
Yeah, the Indians sent Yorber Marquina to the Yankees in May, so they waited from December until May. Yorber Marquina was from Venezuela.
What does he do?
It says pitcher and catcher. I don't think he's decided yet. Popped it up, but it'll be back in the crowd.
No, if he could do them both at the same time, now he would be a very talented player to be named later. Either that or didn't throw particularly hard. Yeah, they were talking.
Well, he better have a good arm if he's a catcher.
You're right, exactly. But they were talking about the job that Andrew Miller, and they said, did you ever, Rick Manning next door, who I pitched against, does their television. He said, that was pretty amazing. I said, oh, no doubt about it. Bases loaded, gets out. He said, ever see anybody like that? I said, yeah, Stu Miller, the changeup artist. Could load him up, and guys, he threw so slow with the neck jerk and all that. Not too many guys. Yeah. Tony Oliva could hit Stu Miller, but Tony Oliva won 2 batting titles. He could hit a lot of people. We'll see him in Minnesota. And then the other guy was a guy that played for the Indians that was and it was kind of we'd think it would be the perfect matchup for Stu. It was Fred Whitfield. He was a high ball hitter, fastball hitter, and he could hit Stu Miller's changeup. But not a good breaking ball, but somehow he was able to time it.
And he chased the slider.
Well, there it is. That's the strikeout pitch. And, able to get enough fastballs and get the bat going. And then it's not even close to being a strike. But the good slider, sometimes you just don't pick it up. And again, the fastball gets you at 93, 94. So you got to be a little bit quick. And if you don't see the spin and a good slider, you don't pick it up. And that was one of those. That's how you look. Kind of look silly. Yeah. Not saying that Scope's a silly hitter, but you wave at it. See, that one was right out of his hand. Mark Trumbo knew it was going to be a ball.
Mark is 0 for 3, 6 for 26 on the homestand, couple of home runs. Orioles would love to see his run production bat get heated up. He's had a quiet month in June in that department. 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in the month. Trumbo does have a home run off Goody. 1 for 3 in their head-to-head matchups. Good take. 2-1. .511 200.
And you can see from the perspiration, it is a hot, humid night here, or at least the humidity is up. And there's the low fastball. I'm looking for it. Get back in the count.
You can see the perspiration on his arm. Easy to perspire on nights like this. I'm going to use the rosin. Prevent that moisture from getting on his pitching hand too much.
Well, Mark Trumbo's walked to what, 25 times coming into this year. He walks here. You get Mancini up with a tying run at the plate. So again, it comes down to what can I throw for a strike.
And he got him a high fastball. So the strikeout ends the inning. Base hit, a man left. We head to the 8th. 5-2 Indians. On Twitter, Buck and Angela now grandparents, and the Orioles say join us in congratulating Allie and Andrew on the birth of their son Winston, born this morning. And there is the proud grandpa with Winston. Well, congratulations, Skipper, and to Angela and Andrew and Allie. What a moment.
Oh,
you got 2 for 1.
yeah, my daughter Kelly has boy and girl down in Texas. Kind of where Buck is today.
There's Yan Gomes against the Noah. Guessed right, but he pulled it foul.
Yeah, I was talking to Paul Yanish, and I said, you know, you look at some of the ERAs in Norfolk, and it's a great place to pitch because it's a pretty big ballpark. I mean, they moved the fences in a couple of years ago, but wouldn't usually blow off the ocean from right center field. And I go, you were there. And I said, how come? You know, it won loss records. That doesn't mean a lot because if you don't get run support or the team's not playing well. I said, what goes on down there? And he said, well, I play behind him. And it said, it looks like it's kind of lack of command. And he wasn't being critical. He was just saying that, you know, a lot of times they don't hit the glove. That's how you get the high ERAs. But he knows he's got a good arm. Now, command. Right there. I mean, that's perfect. You know, and maybe they're able to focus a little more here or whatever, but boy, you would think you want to get up here, make pitches like this. So he gets ahead enough, even though one was a loud foul ball, and then makes the perfect pitch down and away. So you don't have a 6.83 ERA if you're making those pitches in AAA.
Yeah, he was 1-5 in 9 starts at AAA. Here's Bradley Zimmer coming off the bench.
Now you can put him in the pinch hit match up, but also help your defense. Because again, when you pitch in like that, I mean, it's fine. You move his feet. That's good because he's had a nice series. Now hit the outside corner, and that's what you need to be able to do. And there's a changeup, and he misses. So now he's 2-0. Chisenhall coming in. So Terry Francona saying, I think if they're going to have the righty with nobody up behind him, I'm going to match up. And he doesn't get that pitch for a strike.
Here's Shaw getting loose.
Yeah, Brian Shaw, he's been in the last 3 games. Got the save last night.
Adam Jones given the night off. The next two series, both turf fields for the outfielders. Of course, the infields now, both in Tampa and in Toronto, have the dirt infield all around. There used to be just the cutouts around the bases.
I assume that's Caleb Joseph giving a tutorial on receiving the ball to Adam Jones.
Yep.
Yeah, there he is.
He's got a good seat.
Well, you know why? Because the air conditioning comes right up that tunnel. It's the coolest place. You walk a little bit to Adam's right, our left, and it's a little bit warmer. Even you can see the wind blowing the jersey behind Caleb Joseph.
There's a walk with one down. So somebody's jersey close by in case they're needed. One out walk, and here comes Chisenhall off the bench.
Another guy,
Robertson.
look at that, 6 for 12 with a double, 3 walks, stolen base, played well and right. And that average climbing towards 300. Yeah, his approach of hitting balls, you throw him out over the plate, he's very happy. Hit him right back up the middle, or hit a change up off Dylan Bundy on Monday night up the gap for a couple of runs. Line drives to left. Again, another former #1 draft choice came up really primarily as a third baseman, but he's learned to play the outfield.
And first ball swinging, pops it up to shallow left. Hyun-Soo Kim is there, and 2 down. So now with 2 outs, Zimmer may want to look to try to steal that base and get in the scoring position.
Well, great speed and pretty good instincts. 7 out of 8 for a rookie.
There have not yet been any stolen base attempts with Inoa on the mound.
Well, let's see how his front foot is, and he'll throw over here if he, again, if he, even though he's tall, probably about 6'5", if that front foot slides, you can get the ball to the catcher pretty quickly. And as you mentioned, Castillo throws well. You got to make him stop, which you can do in a number of ways. You can throw over, you can hold the ball, you can step off, you can slide step, get the ball a little bit quicker to the catcher if you think he's running. But you have to be careful, especially with good hitter at the plate like Francisco Lindor, who had a 2-run home run last night, that you make a good pitch, otherwise it becomes extra bases. Good changeup.
Lindor 2 singles tonight. He's 2 for 4. So he's starting to find his stroke. Now it's a modest but still 3-game hitting streak, and he is 6 for 13 in that streak. And the 0-1 is bounced towards Scope. Jonathan will play the hop, get it to first to get Lindor, and the inning ends. So the 1-out walk does not hurt. Mid-8th at Camden Yards. Birds come to bat, down by 3. Second, back in 1932, the National League approved the use of uniform numbers to identify players. Some teams in the American League had implemented digits on the uniforms a few seasons prior to that, but the senior circuit refused, and maybe because in 1923 the Cardinals put numbers on their sleeves and they were harassed by opposing players and fans, and the Cardinals dumped the numbers on their sleeves. Then in 1962, Boog Powell became the first Oriole to hit a home run over the center field hedge at Memorial Stadium and went 469 feet. In 1957, Mickey Mantle became the first major leaguer to accomplish that feat. 5-2 game as the O's come up in the 8th. So Jackson moves from center to left. Zimmer, who came on as a pinch hitter, moves to center, and Chisenhall now in right.
Yeah, so they have their A defense try to protect this 3-run lead. Nick Goody, who
and Brian Shaw.
Oh, Brian Shaw comes in. There we go, Mr. Cutter. And there it is, 93. So he's had a nice year for him. Got the save last night. Did get the loss on a couple of doubles by Manny Machado and Adam Jones on Tuesday night. That's a pretty low number. There's the cutter again. It just veers right to left. Throw it. And the Mariano Rivera cut fastball. A lot of movement, a lot of velocity.
Mancini's 1 out of 3. Takes ball 2 outside. Trey having a big month. He now has 18 multi-hit games. Whereas Trumbo leads the Orioles. Mark has 26 multi-hit efforts.
So 4 consecutive years for Brian Shaw, over 70 appearances. First time that's ever happened in Indian history. And they've been good ones.
And he got him.
Yeah,
96.
Yeah. And he just pulls down on it, throws it like a fastball, a little bit off center, and watch this action. And again, they always talk about the cut fastball. You don't really see the spin. Now he does have a little bit of a slower slider to go with it, but doesn't throw it very often, and why would he?
1 out on the Mancini strikeout. Here's Castillo. Breaking ball is ripped in the center field for a base hit. He got a hanger and didn't miss it.
Well, that's why I said, why would he? And there's a reason. Much more hittable than 96, 93 with great cut. There you go. You're right about the hook. It becomes hittable. You know, it's easier to pick up the spin. I don't know if he was expecting it, but he reacted well. You still want to just kind of get a guy on, put some pressure, get some other guys up in their bullpen. They're good, but this game far from over. Orioles still with, what, 5 outs to go. And once again, they'll play behind Castillo. Santana moves off first base.
Ramirez against left-handers plays shallow. He's well wide of the bag, as you see, at third.
Well, the other thing is you know, I don't think he's going to bunt because no scouting report would indicate that. But if you get to the ball, you can turn a double play much quicker.
Goes the opposite way. Jackson is there. He's got it for the out and 2 down.
And you're always thinking about that. You know, nice ground ball, 5 to 4 to 3 double play. That's a moot point now.
Now Joey Rickard's going to pitch it for Tejada. Ruben was 0 for 2. He was also hit by a pitch. It'll be a righty-righty matchup. There's Paul Janisch, so that glove will be needed in the top of the 9th. He'll come on defensively at short.
And I would think that he might think bunt here. I don't know how many times you try to take a 94-mile-per-hour bunt. They did it in spring training. They give him the bunt.
Well, Joey's 0 for his last 13. So
yeah, well, hey, how can I get on? And that's one of the ways. And even if you do it with no strikes, you'd probably come in a couple of steps.
Instead, Shaw falls behind 2-0. Rickard batting .211 this month. He's 8 for 38 in June. There's a strike, 2-1.
No, that's a good take because you want to try to get on, make him throw a strike, and he did. Only .222 against righties. Yeah. Pretty much his role on this team initially was going to be to play against left-handers. Hit over 300 against lefties last year.
Hit right to Lindor at shortstop. So Rickard hit a line drive, but right to Lindor. And that ends the inning. Base hit, a man left. We head to the ninth at Camden Yards. Masson is brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. 5-2 game as we go to the ninth. Paul Janisch comes on to play shortstop. Tejada lifted for a pinch hitter. Joey Rickard stays in the game in left field. So Kim is out of the game as well. Janisch goes into Kim's spot in the batting order, which is 7th.
Yeah, so Gabriel Anoa will try to navigate his way through 2, 3, 4 and keep the score. And the Orioles within 3.
Kipnis 1 out of 4. He doubled in the 5th. And Andrew Miller getting ready for the save opportunity. With their closer Cody Allen away on paternity leave. Full foul past Sandy Alomar. Noah came on to get the final out of the 7th, so this is his second full inning of work he's beginning.
Nice fastball. You know, I was talking to Caleb, who caught him the other night, Caleb Joseph, who does the one of the 2 catchers, and I said, so tell me about Enoa, because a lot of the scouts saying that he's intriguing because he's got a power arm. He's got 3 pitches, and they can be good from time to time. I mean, there's 95, and he's long and lanky and looks pretty athletic. He said when he stays behind it, you know, that's when the ball sinks. That's when the changeup goes down. That's when the curveball he's able to get over on top of it, which is how you throw a curveball. So again, it's just kind of release point. Hopefully he will be able to get better at that. There's a changeup. You could see him in the glove going to a different grip.
All right, I've heard you say that so many times. Stay behind it. Exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, again, it's sometimes it's just a matter of, I think he drops his arm a little bit, and that's how he gets under balls. And again, when he gets sink like that, I mean, you know, it's good velocity, it's good movement. So maybe I stand a little bit taller. Maybe I just feel like my arm gets up a little bit. My wrist angle is a little bit different. But that's a great running fastball. And again, it's just, I mean, if you get to your wrist gets in your thumb, if you take your wrist to the side, your thumb goes up. And Elrod Hendricks, the late Elrod Hendricks, who caught here, was a coach for, I don't know, 30-some years, used to say you could always tell when you're catching a pitcher where the thumb was, because if the thumb kind of was down, the ball, you're going to be behind it. If the thumb gets up a little bit, your hand gets to the side, and that's when you don't stay behind your pitches. And that's a feel thing, and for actually doing it.
So is that something that's coachable, or that's something the pitcher has to figure?
Well, I think it's coachable, and you know, try to work on your ham angle, your release point, and then you know when you get to pitch a lot, and it looks like Manoah's got a rubber arm.
High fly ball to right. That ball's carrying a long way into the corner as Smith, and it's off the wall, and it's fair. And hustling around as Ramirez going to third. He's thinking about coming home, and the stop sign goes up from the third base coach Sarbaugh. So that'll be a triple with one down.
Yeah, they know who got the play. It's almost like he thought the ball was going to be foul. It's up there for, and then right here, I mean, Seth Smith with the aborted jump and the ball way up on the wall. And first time he's probably had to play this angle, and again the ball is carrying. And not close, but of course you don't know that, and the ball's almost like coming straight down. Kind of like playing at Fenway, except you're in right field.
So Ramirez with a triple. He extends his hitting streak to 10 in a row. His multi-hit game streak is on the line, but he's now hitting 10 straight, so the Orioles have to bring the infield in for Encarnacion. Center field coming in on a Gentry, won't get there. There's a base hit. Ramirez coming to the plate.
Yeah, he didn't wait too long to just get a ball that he could hit in the air, which is what you try to do.
Sounded like he broke his bat, but it got the job done.
Well, you know, he hit one, 454 feet, second ball hit in the deck, and he described it as I didn't feel anything. And I was asking Manny and Scope and some of the guys, he said every once in a while you hit a ball where you hit it so flush, it's like, well, it's like Robert Redford in the National, in the natural, and maybe it doesn't break the lights, and they all explode and whatever, or Memorial Stadium in Buffalo. But there's hardly any feel. Now that one he felt because he hit it on the end of the bat, but he got the job done because he looked for a pitch that was fly ballable. That's a new word we're using.
Fly ballable.
Yeah. Well, it was a pitch that was fly ballable. That's what he's trying to do. Hit a ball, fly ball, get a ball out of here. Dan Otero.
No longer a save situation,
no.
So Otero gets loose.
He pitched last night, as did Andrew Miller.
Still only one down. Santana's got 2 hits, looking for a third.
See, and when I get to the side, what does that ball do? It just runs away. So you got to figure out whether it's wrist, whether it's delivery. Maybe got to stay closed a little bit. But those were all the things that when you get a pitcher like Gabriel Onoa, that you hope that he can kind of conquer. You maybe a little harder to do at this level against the best hitters in the game.
Skied to center field. Gentry has a play as he backs up, 2 men down. Encarnacion back to the bag. A 4-run game now in the 9th. Here's Austin Jackson. He is 3 out of 4 RBI triple, 2-run single, another single, and a fly ball to right that Smith caught on the warning track.
Yeah, if the Orioles come back, or they don't come back, they would have lost 3 out of 4 against the club that came in with a 5-game winning streak. But Michael Brantley didn't even play. He's having a nice year coming back from shoulder injuries that kept him out pretty much all of last year.
Now 1-1 on Jackson. Orioles in the bottom of the 9th have Craig Gentry due to lead off. and Smith and Machado. The two players available on the bench are Caleb and Adam Jones, who was given the night off. Waves at it, 1-2.
No, you just have to look at the run differential between these two teams. The Indians come in, what, the third best, I think, in the American League.
Plus 53.
Plus 53, and the Orioles were minus 60. And that's a huge gap. And you could kind of see it. You know, Orioles are battling, and they're trying to pull away. Good clubs do that, add on runs. It's hard to, even if you get the starter out because of pitch count. They did a nice job. Clevenger got in and out of trouble all night long, but battled his way to get 5 innings, and then they did what the Orioles did last year. You stop because your bullpen's so good. You don't score runs, and then, you know, the offense just kind of work their way to get a couple more on the board, and you go into the 9th inning with at least a 4-run lead.
And a swing and a miss gets him, and that retires the side. But the Indians add a run, triple and a single. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Birds need 4. As the Orioles close out this homestand, and Andrew Miller, despite the fact that it is no longer a safe situation, he was up, he was loose, so he comes on.
Yep, and you know, again, even though he throws hard, slider, fastball, I mean, any time. I mean, they didn't score against him until he pitched in the 18th game. Did have one bad game against the Dodgers. That's pretty easy. They got pretty good offense. Look at that, 3 for 31. And then a strikeout master. And we saw that last night, ground ball and a couple of strikeouts on nasty sliders and a fastball at 95.
Adam Jones given the night off tonight, on the bench supporting his teammates. So here's Gentry leading off. He is 1 out of 2. He's also been hit by a pitch. Then to the top of the lineup.
Yeah, the Yankees, I mean, pretty astutely, they signed him for a 4-year deal. He pitches great for him for a year and a half, and then
bunt towards third. Ramirez gets there, lets it roll, and it rolls foul.
Must be, because he picked it up. Heads up play. He had no chance to. I mean, because you can't throw him out, and he gets it before it rolls back. But you know, again, they wanted to bolster their farm systems. They traded Miller to put 4 players to Cleveland. The Yankees signed Chapman, really kind of for a year. They got 3 players for him. Beltran went, Nova went, and of course, how about Cleveland? They get Andrew Miller.
Already signed.
Yeah, they already had a closer.
They have him for this year and next year. And they had him last year for the postseason. And they almost won the World Series.
Oh, you could see, I mean, marvelous arm, 6'7". Very difficult to pick up the ball. Hides it well. He's got one of the best sliders in baseball.
So Caleb come out on deck to pinch hit for Smith, so that'll get a righty up against Andrew Miller. There's Smith with his good friend Mark Trumbo. Good take.
Yeah, really good take at 85. Well, they're probably talking about Andrew Miller because everybody has respect for him. He's a terrific guy. And, you know, it's not like you talked about it last night, came up as the #1 draft choice with Detroit. It's not like he didn't have to really work to get to this point. Yeah, he figures that it's going to be another strikeout, but that's ball 3.
Well, Miller pitched 2 innings last night. So you hope maybe he doesn't have the command he did last night. And he takes a walk. Good at bat by Gentry. So you need 4 and you get the leadoff man on.
Well, the last thing they want is for him to have again a high pitch count. But you're right, he was up, he was loose, but so was Dan Otero.
So Caleb comes off the bench to pinch hit for Smith. Seth was 1 out of 4 with a home run in the first. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Yeah, so they go home to play the Twins, and I mean the Twins are only 1 back, and the one thing about the Twins, they're 29 on the road. And they're 8 games under 500, and that's where the Cleveland Indians swept them. But they're a little different team when they get away from the ballpark in Minnesota. Only Houston, 26-8, has the better road record, and they're already at 49 wins.
So that slider that breaks down towards the back foot of the right-handed batters, he can't get the hitters to chase. Gentry laid off and Caleb laid off that one. And he got him on a fastball.
Well, again, I mean, you're trying to recognize the pitches and then zip. And this is 95. It's on the corner, and it has movement and late life. And that ball outside quarter of the plate. I mean, it's going to tell you exactly where it is, maybe outside third of the plate. But it's already established your back foot, and that's pretty tough combination. That's the way Steve Carlton pitched his way to 329 wins.
Manny singled to right field his last at bat, 1 out of 2 plus a couple of walks. So Manny beginning to draw walks. That is a very good sign.
Well, and my point to him in Chicago was it's frustrating because you don't want to be hitting. He's 225. You walk, your average stays there, but you get more pitches to hit. You help your team. But he's done a nice job of being more patient. Here it's kind of hard to do it because it's the one thing also. Miller strikes a lot of people out, but he usually doesn't walk a whole lot of people. Walks are rare for him.
Well, Manny had walked 3 times total in the month of June, and he has 2 walks tonight. And gets a piece to stay alive. Last time he walked at least 2 times in a game was April 30th in New York. He drew 3 walks that day. And when he's seeing the ball, you'll see the walk totals begin to increase. Lines a foul. Gentry leading from first. The Orioles trail by 4 in the ninth. Trying to slice it down the line, but fades back foul. So the Indians are trying to complete a 7-1 road trip. And they're 2 outs away from doing that. Manny towards the gap in right center field, and that is past Chisenhall, and that goes to the wall. Gentry's flying around third. He's heading to the plate. Here comes the throw. It is high, and Gentry gets in there. So the Orioles not done yet.
Nope. Well, that's how they got their run last night. On the Scopes double up the gap. This ball is a smoke. Chisenhall thinks that he can cut it off, but he takes a pretty good route to the ball, but it's just hit so hard. I got to think this is another one of those 112, 113 mile per hour line drives that gets over his head.
Look at that speed from Gentry.
Well, he can fly out. He's happy to be back in the big leagues.
So Manny, a 2-hit game. Picks up his 37th RBI, and here's Schoop. And still only 1 down. The tying run is on deck. So Schoop trying to get on. He singled back in the first. RBI walk with a bases loaded walk in the second. 1 for 3 officially. Peaks the corner, 0-2.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, if you've been around as long as Andrew Miller, the only thing that irritates you about this inning is the walk to Gentry, because you know Manny can hit any pitch to throw.
Skied down the line.
And with one hand, he hit a home run foul.
First earned run allowed on the road by Miller, and only the 7th all season.
Well, he gave up 4 in 1 game against the Dodgers, and actually he gave up a couple, and then a couple of inherited runners. Cody Bellinger, who's last time I looked at 20 as a rookie, had 22 home runs, fastest guy to do that, and he had hit a hanging slider off him.
He hung it. He was a little bit out in front.
Yeah, you throw us 2 innings in one night, and then you lose a little arm speed. The pitches, I don't think about the velocity, because that's 95, 96, but maybe the slider doesn't have the same bite. And again, he's a 2-pitch pitcher. It's going to be one of the 2.
Jonathan lays off. Count goes to 1-2.
And pitch at 98.
Schoop is 0 for 3 against Andrew Miller. There are a lot of 0-fers against Andrew Miller. Ball 2 gets away from Gomes, not far enough for Manny to advance. So Schoop trying to get on to get Trumbo up there as the tying run. It was 0-2. Now it's 2-2.
And nobody up behind him in the bullpen. And like we said, we already saw Otero. Shaw's pitched. McAllister's pitched. Logan's pitched. Nick Goody's pitched.
And he got him. Slow breaking ball.
Yeah, finally able to get the slider where he wants to. And that's down and in. And he just throws it. Throws it for the outside corner. I'm sure that he probably has a, maybe a target, not the glove, but maybe the, one of the shoulders of Yan Gomes or Perez, who's catching, and then just kind of stays on top of it. And it's obviously very effective pitch, one of the best in baseball.
So the Orioles are now 0 for 7 tonight with runners in scoring position. Trumbo, the last hope. 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. And he'll look over a fastball for strike 1. Fouls it back, 0-2.
And now you got a scuffle. Is it going to be 83, 85, 97?
Trumbo actually 2 for 4 head-to-head against Miller. Machado at second with 2 down. Just got a piece. Scott Coolball talking with Scope following that at-bat. Very hands-on coach. And you like to see that by a coach when it's fresh in the hitter's mind. 0-2 on Trumbo. Just outside, a little low maybe.
But he's also very sensible. You talk to Scott Coolball. I mean, he's, you know, he played. He knows how difficult it is to face Andrew Miller. But this is more just, yeah, kind of a discussion.
And he got him. And that will end the game. So Miller eventually strikes out the side. The Orioles get a run on the Machado double. And the Indians come into Baltimore and get 3 out of 4. So the Orioles denied a winning homestand. They will go on the homestand 3-4 as the Indians get this one here. Well, we hope you can join us tomorrow night. The Orioles open up a 3-game series at the Trop against the Rays. Ubaldo Jimenez on the mound against Chris Archer. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 6:30 with those extra presented by Jeep. And then game coverage at 7 o'clock. And now for Jim Palmer and our entire hardworking crew, Jim Hunter saying so long from Camden Yards. Our final score, Cleveland 6, the Orioles 3. Tonight's telecast, a MASN presentation. Tom and Rick, those extra comes your way right now.